of speed while eluding.
Then tomorrow I'll be hype again
Running too.
because it's close to the weekend.
Garden died. Brian Carney was serious.
It's going to be a crazy day because it's all syndicated shit.
Manslaughter.
Then you're only on for 1 hour, and then we on the stream for 2 hours.
Oh, damn. So we got to switch up, what, at 4?
The maximum sentence.
Yeah, we switch everything at 4.
And it doesn't seem like it's ever going to end.
Then
There's the 20-year
go to 6, go home.
Okay.
The state's attorney is too low.
I'm in Vermont on Saturday,
Doing
and then on Sunday,
Is that the bowling match?
Has proposed
yeah, it's going down singles, doubles, and 5-man team.
Damn.
cover a
We're
deficit
going to be there. We leaving at probably like 6 in the morning
elsewhere.
because first squad started at 9. It's a 2-hour drive, so.
Yeah.
Pulled some of the administrative costs on the city hall side. If we can deal with some of the special ed costs, we want more of the dollars that are coming to the school district to be spent in the classroom.
District cites an increase in the cost of everything.
Tell you, man, you got a bowl. Get your extra money. You waited too late, though. You waited too late.
To learn bowling?
Yeah, you
Forget
can't start
about
now.
it. No.
24-hour traffic.
I started late. I
Yeah.
started at 29 years old, and everybody, all the people I was bowling against, they came up in junior bowling and started when they were like 10 and
91.
all that crap. So
Yeah,
I had to catch up.
In order for me to be in a bowling league, it's going to have to be, at least in a tournament,
And
it's gotta be
eastbound 84,
a
we see
border
congestion in West
tournament,
Hartford area
with
between
the
exit
with the
44
guardrails, whatever that
and
nonsense.
exit-
Nah, you could do the 50 and over. They got a 50 and over
I'm
league.
not
in the
doing
area of
that.
exits.
Doing that.
That should be wrapping up. in
I'm
the
a
next 25
competitive
minutes or
person,
so.
so
And down
if
in
you
Meriden,
get
we've
me
got
into a
southbound,
competition
repair
that
work
I've
left
never
over,
been in,
between
I
exits
will become
17 and
competitive even if
15
I
in the
suck
right
at
lane.
it.
Jason
Like, you should
Catalina
see me
has
when
the
I play golf. I'm
WTIC
horrible.
Weather forecast.
Horrible golf player. But I love the sport so much because I suck at it. Because it
Yeah.
immediately makes me competitive.
Yeah. And golf and bowling is very, very similar in the fact that they're very expensive.
Yep.
They're very difficult because there's so many different factors and
So
elements
much variable.
you have to factor in.
Yeah.
The good thing about bowling though is inside and not outside. That's the best thing about it.
I'll tell you, I've golfed by myself because I won't. First of all, I won't do like groups or any of that, so I always golf by myself. And I will sit there throwing stuff, screaming, hollering. My short game is horrible. It's like, but my ex-wife used to ask me all the time. She goes, "If you hate it so much, why do you go?" I said, "Because I want to get better."
Yeah,
That's the only reason
exactly.
why. 'Cause
Okay,
I want
on
to get
Wall
better.
Street, the Dow up over 20
Because you want to get better. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was trash when I first started too,
Yeah.
but
day.
now I'm really good. So
Like, don't
Up,
get me
nearly
into
10%,
something,
the S&P
even if I hate it.
has
If I
climbed,
categorically
just
can't
over
stand it,
7.5%.
put me in the
For
middle
these
of it,
stories
and
and
I'll
more, go to
become competitive at it
WTIC.com.
immediately.
I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health.
That's why
where
I won't
we've
do bowling
successfully
now.
treated
You get me in
thousands
that
of
thing,
men for low
it's the first thing I'm
testosterone
gonna do.
and help them feel like their old selves again. Please take
yeah, then you're gonna start trying to buy bowling balls and
Yep.
shoes and shit.
That's exactly what
The energy level was just in the toilet, and that was what
That was-
led
you
to
know,
me
that's
going
how I
in.
became
I've
a
been treated
soccer
at Northeast
coach
Men's Health for low
for my
testosterone,
kids.
coming on about 2 years now. Within a
I went
you-
to I went
you
to a
went there
soccer
and it was
game.
trash?
I
definitely
and
noticed
Ethan
a
was
higher
a part of
energy
the
level,
soccer
but the
team. We
old
watched the
man
whole
crankiness
season.
just
They
went
won
away.
2
I'm able to
games
stay
out
really
of
well
9,
organized, nothing-
and they sucked at
I
the
mean,
end
the
of it. And my
we
ex-wife
need to
said,
keep on
"If
top
you
of the
think
game."
you're so
What
good
I would
at it,
say to
you
any
try
other guy
coaching."
that is
So
in
I was
the
like,
same situation
okay, and I
where they
asked
feel
whether or
like
not there
they're
was an
dragging,
opportunity to
just
coach.
call
They were like,
Northeast
yeah, we'd
Men's
love
Health.
you
You
to.
won't regret
I
it.
went, I took
Thanks,
the
Marty.
damn,
It's true.
it was
Low-T
12
therapy
hours
can
on
dramatically change
Saturday,
your life.
12
Your
hours
initial
on
appointment is
Sunday.
only $99
I had to
with
take
results
the
in
whole
minutes.
weekend
And
off,
if you
12
start on
hours,
testosterone the
1
day of
hour
your
for lunch
appointment,
each
your
day in
visit
order
is
to
free.
get my
Call
F1
today,
license.
800
Yep.
And then I became a coach, and we won the championship that year. That's how competitive I am. And I knew
Damn.
nothing about soccer. Nothing. And that was in 2005.
I think so.
In my first year as a coach. Yeah, 2006, I should say. First year as a coach, won a championship for that division. So all you have to do is just tell me, you should try it. I'm like, I started trying it, and I was like, I'm gonna totally win this thing.
Since I started taking Nugenics,
That's crazy.
I remember
I feel more energized
I was
at work.
chastised by the league because I did a chant with the team after we went 4-0. We were all putting hands in at the end, and we were like 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, and they called me into the office and said it was gratuitous grandstanding. And I was like, That's a bad thing? They were like, yeah, it was kind of rubbing your nose, rubbing it on the nose of the other team. I'm like, we are not allowed to celebrate? Like, it was really weird.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, man. That's the world we live in now. Everything's soft.
Before you even hit the road.
Yeah, 10.
On the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Reese on the radio.
Yo, let's keep it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I can't believe he folded. I can't believe it. I cannot believe he folded. I wanted to see that stock market go all the way down. I wanted there to be panic, insanity. Now, I know there's some people with 401ks who are now saying, Reese, come on, man. I got a 401k, man. I got
a 401k, man.
I apologize for that. But look, I knew something was coming. It was in the works. The language was just sounding crazy from a lot of people. And, you know, apparently Charles Gasparino was just on Fox News a little while ago and said that they forced the hand of the Trump administration because the bond market started to crater overnight. And that's a bad thing. I will admit that. But something had to be done to force Donald Trump's hand. And look, it wasn't like every other country didn't have a way to sway the president. He had control, but not all of it. That's what the negotiation's about. That's what this whole tariff war, if there were any, was about. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Donald, that you and I are on the same line. I think he had, but let's put it this way. To give him an olive, like to give him at least a semblance of dignity, he was kind of made to because of the bond market. Everyone was saying that the bond market was secure. But here's the crazy part. According to Gasparino, it wasn't China. There was a rumor that said that China was selling bonds, that they started dumping bonds immediately. But according to Gasparino, it wasn't China. It was Japan. Now, that's a bad thing. That's a really bad thing for negotiations with Japan and the United States, considering that Japan is on its way over to the White House to hold negotiations with the president. Question becomes whether or not Donald Trump has been exposed by Japan or anyone else, for that matter, dumping bonds. So we'll see. This it gives the impression that Donald Trump has been weakened by this. But let me tell you where I know that's nonsense. One, what he did was strategic and brilliant. Because, again, if everybody really thinks that he's on the losing end here, ask yourself a real simple question. Why would he put a 90-day pause on everybody else and then skyrocket the tariffs on China? Why? If Japan was the one who dropped the bonds, China could do the same thing. Instead, he escalated the war with China. Anyone wonder why? Ask yourself. I'll give everybody an opportunity. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. I'll give everybody an opportunity to give me your best understanding of the market. I know why. It's real simple. Everybody knows this. Lori's in the chat room. She says, in my opinion, he has maximum leverage. He will come out ahead. He has been right about everything he has ever been called crazy about. Absolutely right, Lori. 100% right. But I told you guys a couple of days ago Remember when the rumor came out on Monday that he was going to do a 90-day pause, and within an hour, the stock market skyrocketed? Immediately went. It was tanking. Everybody was talking about Black Monday. Black Monday. And all of a sudden, rumor went out. Donald Trump is going to put a 90-day pause. Stocks, all of a sudden, everybody starts running to the, buy. Boom. Then he turns around and says it's fake news. Goes down. And what did I say? You shouldn't have given Donald Trump that kind of leverage. You should have never showed your hand, Wall Street. You never should have done it. Because here's what they know about the Trump administration. And Scott Bissett said it in front of the banking world. If you didn't hear this, this was, I can arguably say, this was the notice heard round the world by Scott Bissett when he told everyone in the market this thing about Wall Street.
For the last 4 decades, basically since I began my career in Wall Street has grown wealthier than ever before, and it can continue to grow and do well. But for the next 4 years, the Trump agenda is focused on Main Street. It's Main Street's turn. It's Main Street's turn to hire workers. It's Main Street's turn to drive investment. And it's Main Street's turn to restore the American dream.
And what's been the biggest argument in this country overall? Even since the Obama administration, one of the failings of the Obama administration was Wall Street bailouts, bank bailouts, the housing market bailouts. Nothing for the American citizen. Even Obama was criticized for that. When Barack Obama in 2008 was screaming and hollering, talking about Wall Street, and he did it again in 2012, after the elections, what did we find out? The biggest contributors to both campaigns were Wall Street. That's why he protected them and the banks. People forget about Occupy Wall Street. That was in 2011. Who did Barack Obama side with when Occupy Wall Street was really starting to gain momentum? Barack Obama sided with Occupy Wall Street and then bailed out the banks anyway. But what made it even crazier, this is the most insane part. After Wall Street contributed all that money to his re-election campaign, after they did all of that, here's the crazy part. What did the banking industries do? The banking industries miraculously started taking on DEI. They had to change their way of doing business. They had to formulate an ideal that was similar of the ideals of Occupy Wall Street. They had to justify their bailouts. That's why you saw conservatism start to be attacked in the banks. Yeah. Very early on, this began in 2012, 2013. People forget about that. All of these things were happening simultaneously while they continued to load up the coffers of the people in Wall Street. Donald Trump is saying, and that's what Bessett's saying here, is that Wall Street has had an opportunity to flourish. They've been bailed out. They've been taken care of. They've been protected. No more. Because the average citizen, how does Donald Trump grow his coalition? Democrats have been asking that question forever. That's right. Thank you. Obama led that effort. People have been asking for the longest, why is it that Donald Trump's coalition keeps growing? Why are the Democrats shrinking? Well, it's simple. Think about the most, about the most wealthiest benefactors over the last 20 years. The wealthiest people in the business. Who have they supported? Who have they thrown their weight behind? It's always been the left. And remember, around Barack Obama, everybody was on board. People found it odd that a guy who was running around telling everybody he was for everyone else and he cared about the little guy was overwhelmingly endorsed by big business, corporate interests. The only time Barack Obama seemed to care about, business having too much power was during Citizens United. Crazy part about that was, during all that time, Barack Obama was really getting a lot of underhanded money from a lot of organizations that nobody, I mean, come on, these super PACs, they were getting billions of dollars, but that's another story. But all of that, you look at it now, what did Donald Trump do? He realized in order to grow his coalition, he had to reject the thing that made him most popular, his money. He had to reject it. And I always told this. Yeah, that's right, the old switcheroo. This is the thing I tried to explain to poor people. And when I say poor people, I'm talking about poor inner city people. Broke mofos, as I like to say. Stop telling me about the rich. A word of advice to all of you. If you've got a broke friend telling you about how the wealthy think, I want you to look at him or her and say, when have you ever been wealthy? And then when they get agitated about that question, simply say, I don't think I should take financial advice from a broke person. In fact, if another broke person says to you, hey, let me tell you about these rich folks, stop them and say, what's your credit score? Why you begun to get in my business? You will get that response in a minute. Stop taking financial advice to broke folks. Donald Trump, and this is funny because I say this all the time, and it's not like you or anyone else can't go look this up. Donald Trump has made a cottage industry of understanding what his employees do. Donald Trump was doing undercover boss before it was a thing. Does anybody know that? Donald Trump was doing these little bits where he would, I don't know if you can see it online now, where Donald Trump walked into, I guess, one of his hotels or one of his buildings, and he took on the jobs of everyone inside his building. There's one where he's working with, I guess, the maid services, where he's turning down beds and stuff, you know, and vacuuming the floor. He puts on one of the uniforms where he's got his suit. He takes his suit off and he puts on the uniform. It's funny because seeing Donald Trump, a guy full of opulence, a guy who's got gold trim rooms in his penthouse, walking around, you know, in a schmuck with a vacuum cleaner, cleaning windows and folding towels and cleaning bathrooms. People thought it was funny, and it was. But Donald Trump was doing that to show people that it wasn't beneath him to do it, that he had respect for the people who worked for him. And then you ask the people who actually worked for him, they explained how great of a boss he was, how he was on the ground with them. They felt like they were a partner in his success. And now you hear these people talking about business and finance and about Donald Trump like he's unengaged, above the fray, looking down. You guys know this is true, that Donald Trump understands the working man in his country. And just to make it clear, with this whole stock market thing, why he really didn't care about the stock market, just to make this clear, I ask a simple question. Name a politician you know and you love who's done anything remotely similar to what I just described that Donald Trump did. You see, when Donald Trump put on the McDonald's apron, a lot of you were going, oh, man, look at him. He got on the McDonald's apron. I've seen Donald Trump put on an apron before. I've seen him put on a maid's uniform before. A cleaning service apron before. I've seen it. I saw him put on a valet's vest before. He's done it for years. It's who he is. None of that stuff was foreign to me. He was reintroducing himself to a world who had never known him to do that. But it's all available. This stock market thing, the crazy part about it, and I go back to what Donald Trump said at the joint sessions. No matter what he does, Democrats will never be satisfied. And a perfect example is today. They have been telling Donald Trump that what he's doing is stupid. They have been saying all week that what Donald Trump is doing is going to destroy the economy. If he doesn't stop this now, he is going to destroy the fabric of the United States of America. I can't believe people chose this guy, and he's going to put everybody in the poorhouse. And then he pauses, and you know what everybody says? Look at him, he's a chump. Look at him, he's a sucker. He folded. Come on. In a little, just in a small way, can't some of you come to grips with the fact that he control you because you stand for nothing and fall for everything? Nothing you say, nothing you're arguing about, you totally agree with, or you agree with at all, or you believe in at all. Nothing you say has any standing. The truth is, he's right and you're wrong. It doesn't matter what he does. You are going to find a way to hate on it because you've only got one gear, and it's letter H. It's hatred. You've only got one gear. You will find a way to erase everything you said yesterday about this man and the tariffs and find a way to hate him today while the stock market just skyrocketed 2,600 points. No one's listening. No one's listening anymore, and it's a joke. So I find all of this entertaining. For me, it's laughable. Oh, is that Art Laffer? Yes, it is. He's on the TV. Anyway, I got plenty of other stuff to talk about. We'll get into that. WTNH did a report on the tariffs as well. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. If I didn't tell you, if you didn't listen to my Sunday show, you know, they did identify the woman who attacked Savannah Craven on the Harlem Street last weekend, or last Thursday. They did locate the woman, and she's released a statement. We'll talk about that if you haven't heard about the story. This was the story about the pro-life activist, Savannah Craven, who was punched in the face by a pro-abortionist. They have located her. She has released a statement. I don't know whether or not there has been any actual charges filed or an arrest has been made, but she has been in the New York Post. Her name is Brianna Rivers. That is the woman who attacked her. You could probably look her up online now if you're interested in that story. We'll talk about that as well today. I've got a great story to talk about in the stupidest thing I read today. It is a pregnant woman who got ticketed for walking the wrong way down the street. And I got it from my good friend and advocate, Donald. You remember Don. He's the one with the accent. He's from Jamaica. I think he's from Jamaica. He could be from some part of the West Indies. I'm assuming he's Jamaican. Don sent it to me, and he is very, very excited to hear my take on this story. Again, it's the stupidest thing I read today. A pregnant woman has been ticketed for walking the wrong way down the street. The story is interesting. By the way, in order to get the full scope of this story, you may have to go online to reseontheradio.com to go look at it, because we are going straight to we're going straight online because the Red Sox are starting. I think their game starts roughly around 4:00 today. So we're going to go to the
that's tomorrow, man.
Oh, we're full. We're on tomorrow. We're all on day today?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounded like when we were talking earlier, it was today.
I said tomorrow.
Oh, you did say tomorrow. Okay, my bad. Thank you, Roland, for clearing that up. So we'll be here all day. But if you want to see the picture of the pregnant woman, the only way you can understand what I'm about to talk about at 4:00 is you have to actually be online to see the picture. So if you do miss the show, go back and watch it and go to reseontheradio.com in order for you to see it. So what do we got? We got that. Let me see. We got less than about 30 seconds. What else did I also have? Oh, Sunny Host in Houston, Houston. She's in the news again talking about voter ID. I've got a great video to dovetail into that story and what John Kennedy said about AOC, and Chuck Schumer confirming what I've been believing for the longest, and that is they want the violence against Tesla because they refuse to condemn it. We'll play that. And last but not least, Ashra Nomani did the work that the rest of us didn't have to do. proving that the protesters in Hartford on Saturday bought and paid for. I'll have that exclusive coming up in the next half an hour. So stick around. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. For over 3 decades, Cordell & Cordell has been on the front lines of family law. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Hartford area attorneys. Phyllis McCutcheon, licensed in Connecticut. Online at CordellCordell.com. There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
So, you want to buy a house. You could go online, do your research, find the dream listing, go see it, and get catfished. Back to the drawing board. More scheduling, more viewings, more, this doesn't even look like the photos. You could finally find one that does match the photos. Then comes the offer. Stress rush? Yep, make that 3. And here's the paperwork. Yep, never-ending paperwork. It's a lot. But you don't have to do it alone. Because there's an agent who's a realtor here to guide and help protect you as you find the home that's right for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Good morning, Doctor. Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Well, the joy of early bedtimes. And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
And now, a WTIC news update.
3:30 Hartford, temperature 45 degrees. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The Dow Jones was back up over 40,000 today after word this afternoon from President Trump that he was holding the line on tariffs for now, 90 days, except for China, which will have to fork over 125% more in tariffs. Short time ago, the president at the White House said doing the tariffs took guts and that they were working out faster than he thought. State House has just voted to reappoint Marissa Gillette as the chair of PURA, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. The vote was 91 in favor, 52 against in the House. Gillette had become somewhat of a lightning rod, as some had blamed her for the high electric rates the state has seen, while utilities accused her of abusing her authority. House also voted David Arconti in the affirmative to be a PURA commissioner. The Senate will next take up the measure. The brother of a Hartford police detective killed in the line of duty is speaking out. Will Garton tells WFSB the person who struck a police cruiser with his brother and another officer should be given the maximum sentence. Richard Barrington has pled guilty to manslaughter after he sped away from police at an initial stop, ran 2 red lights, and then crashed into the officer's cruiser. State's attorney is recommending a 20-year sentence. Woman was seriously injured when Milford Fire Department officials say her vehicle was struck by a stray tire on Interstate 95 Tuesday morning. Victim had to be extricated from the car. They say she sustained traumatic injuries. That incident occurred northbound on the turnpike just around exit 39A. Dozens of people gathered at the Dominican Republic's Forensic Institute. They're hoping for news of their loved ones who are still missing after the roof of an iconic nightclub collapsed. And police in East Haven still on the lookout for a driver of a vehicle who struck a pedestrian Tuesday Investigators say the driver was in a silver Nissan SUV that fled the scene on Foxen Road after the crash. The offending vehicle last spotted heading east on Foxen toward New Haven. WTIC News Time is 3:32. Here's the forecast.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, mostly sunny, breezy, feeling a bit chilly with a high of 47. Clear to partly cloudy, a cold night ahead, the low dropping down to 25. Now Thursday, not a bad day, some sun before turning cloudy. It'll be a touch milder with the high moving up to 52. Then a shower in spots Thursday night, the low down to 37. Occasional rain and drizzle in the morning on Friday, otherwise cloudy, breezy, a bit damp and raw feeling with the high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
In Berlin, Route 9 northbound is closed between, or actually, it's not closed. The left lane is closed between exits 30 and 31. Tractor trailer and a vehicle involved in a crash there. Again, Berlin, Route 9 north between 30 and 31. Left lane out due to a two-vehicle crash. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Connecticut hospitals care for more than just patients. They care for our workforce, creating 245,000 jobs. They care for our economy as the largest employer in Connecticut. They care for our communities, connecting residents to health screenings, nutritious food, and stable housing. And they care for our future, making healthcare accessible, equitable, and affordable. Connecticut hospitals create real change by caring for Connecticut. Learn more at caringforct.org.
Being injured in an accident can leave you feeling vulnerable and lost. You need a fast and fair resolution and a law firm that can protect you. At Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott, our team of personal injury lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience and will treat you with respect and dignity. If you've been injured, BPS lawyers are here to help. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Bruce Newman is responsible for the content of this ad.
We get it. Attention spans just aren't what they used to be. Heads in social media and eyes on Netflix. But what do people do with their ears? Well, for one, they're listening to audio. Americans spend 4.4 hours with audio every day. Oh, and you want the proof? Well, you just sat through this ad that's now approaching 30 seconds. What could you say to a potential customer in 30 seconds? Let Odyssey put together a media plan tailor-made for your unique marketing needs. Advertise with Odyssey. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Next up at Fenway, the Red Sox host the Toronto Blue Jays.
One to right field. It is high. It is drifting. That will bring in the time.
It's the Red Sox and Blue Jays. We join the pregame tonight at 6:05. Catch all the action this season on your home of the Red Sox for 68 years. WTIC News Talk 1080.
Here at ALO, we believe hearing solutions to your main drain problems shouldn't cost a thing. That's why we offer free mainline drain camera inspections and free estimates on sewer line repair or replacement. Contact the trusted professionals at ALO when you call, click, or text today and say, "Hello, ALO." Call for details. Licensed for safety. P10277-688, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM 3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Hard work and dreams lead to success, but easily filing your taxes with TurboTax and Credit Karma doesn't hurt either. Make filing taxes a walk in the park, because we'll pre-fill your info for you so you can file quickly and confidently. Winner! Get the peace of mind that comes with expert help. Let's go! Being powered by TurboTax means you're backed by the leading tax preparer, and we'll show you all your filing options up front so there are no surprises. File your taxes on Intuit Credit Karma today. Expert help not available with all products. Guarantee details available at turbotax.com/guarantee.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
It's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
My name is Joanne. I'm 70.
1 minute.
And I have lost 35 pounds on Awaken 180 weight loss. I was pre-diabetic. I was ready to go on cholesterol medication. My blood pressure was up even on medication. Now I have no need for cholesterol medication. My blood sugar is fine, and I actually am cutting down on my blood pressure medicine. I have knee replacements and hip replacements, and I had difficulty walking, and now I can walk without any problem. I feel lighter. I feel more energetic. It is a lifestyle that will help you to lose weight without medication.
Thanks, Joan. Tom Shattuck here. Stories like Joan's are the reason I continue to share the Awaken 180 message. The results speak for themselves, and I'm confident you'll have the same success if you let them show you how. Do what Joan, what I did, and what over 24,000 others have done, and choose the solution for weight loss. It's easy. Get them online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Oh, baby, we are back. Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. I'm going to get to the phones real quick, but I'm going to go through them fast. So everybody's on hold. Please understand. I want to get into this audio that I have, and of course video as well, for those of you who are watching online, about this hands-off protest that happened all across the country. Now, before I get into the phone calls, I want to set this up. I want to set up the premise, because I hear, from what I'm hearing, is that all of these protests were coordinated. All of them were under the same theme, but they were all organic. Now, I'm sorry, folks. That's never been the case when it comes to Democrats. Never. There is no evidence to support it at all. The Tea Party was so grassroots, the media couldn't handle it. In fact, they had to lie about the people who were involved in the Tea Party. They tried to call them racist, bigoted, misogynist. MSNBC went so far as to play a video of a man holding a rifle at one of the Washington rallies, but cropped out the video and narrated it, suggesting that there were racist militia types in the crowd. Other people who took a video of the individual pulled back, made a wider focus of the person carrying the weapon, and it was a black man. It's one of the most notorious scams known in media. Haven't heard about it? Go look it up. I don't want anybody to think that I tell fairy tales here on WTIC. Everyone knows I don't. So when I say I got the goods, I've always got the goods. And I do it with glee. Never an angry bone in my body. So, these protests, I am supposed to believe that in Hartford alone, it was organic. No payments made. No organization whatsoever. But I and you and everyone else saw William Tong and Dick Blumenthal standing behind signs that read, "Indivisible," one of the largest pro-Democrat organizations out there. But when I tell you that I have proof, when I tell you that I have goods, I don't even have to do the work. I just wait. I could have done a million things. But of course, while I was doing my research, somebody was even digging deeper. So we'll play that for you in a second. Stand by. Let's get to the phones real quick. 860-522-WTIC. Ralph's back. How are we doing, sir?
Oh, just have a beautiful day down here, Reese. But I want to go into business with you, Reese. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. You're a minority.
Okay.
I'm gonna claim to be a gay female, and what we can do is apply for a federal grant.
No, we can't do that anymore. It's too late. It's too late. The Biden administration's gone, Ralph. We can't do that now. We missed our chance.
We missed the bus, son of a gun. And all we had to do was get the money, divide it up, and then build a government as consultants.
Listen, let me ask you this, Ralph. How angry, I don't even know if you even heard the story, but how angry would it have made you if you found out that the organization that Stacey Abrams, you know, the woman who failed twice at running for governor of Georgia, the organization that she was a part of, they had $100 in their bank account and managed to get $2.6 billion from the federal government?
I think that's really a wonderful finish for somebody who.
Well, now they're on. Yeah, $2.6 billion. But it turns out now they're actually under investigation. The group that she was a part of has already apologized, and I think they're returning money. Like they were part of a lawsuit where they're returning some $300,000. But now they're investigating her involvement in that group. So I think there's going to be criminal charges brought against her. I can expect that very soon. But
well, the big thing that's coming out of everything that's going on in Washington is all of a sudden sunlight, excuse me, Reese, sunlight is showing how, excuse me, how these people are ripping the taxpayers and the government blind.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're getting caught, and this is why the Democrats are screaming, because they're getting caught with their hands in the cookie jar.
Indeed. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Adam first in East Hartford, and then we'll go to Lenny. Hey, Adam, how are you?
Hey, Reese, before I get to my topic, I want to tell you, I bought one of those bagels, but I learned the hard way. Some bagels, some of the between rounds keep the bagels cold, but they have it in a hot like.
Oh, they had it like in an incubator kind of deal?
Yeah, you know what happened? When they put the peanut butter jam on, even though I had the foil and a paper towel on my lap, I was eating in the car, the peanut butter ran like a liquid. And it stained nice blue pants.
You know what? Listen to me. This is why I tell. Can you now tell that to Roland? This is exactly what Roland has got to have this stuff, toasted and butter on top of it. Peanut butter never stays. That's going to, and I apologize if that happened to you, but nonetheless, was the sandwich good? It had to be worth it if it was melted.
It was very tasty. And I threw a tip in the jar, and I also know I was giving to a good cause,
Thank you, man. That I appreciate. Anyway, what did you call about, sir?
No, I'm glad. Only for me, because I had to leave work early due to some health issues with my eyes.
Oh.
I had some issue with my vision. And I'm glad to see things calm down a bit with the stock market. But does anybody know if we fully recovered or just a little bit recovered?
We haven't fully recovered. Right now, we're sitting at 443. We're at 27.88 up. So we're not going to get back to normal, I think, till roughly about 41, 42. But you know what? It's a 90-day pause. You give that an opportunity to skyrocket. I'm pretty sure in the next couple of days, we're going to see numbers exceed that 42. And if I'm Donald Trump, then I would just put the tariffs back on. But I know he's not going to do that.
No, I'm glad things settle down, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be an exciting waiting game.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a hell of a week. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you, sir. And Lenny is in Avon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Reese. How are you?
Pretty good, sir. What do you got for me?
I just want to say you do got the goods, just to mention that. I love hearing every story you got.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the first thing I want to talk of, I got some notes, is I don't understand why. I heard, if I'm right, I could be wrong. I heard some things about for like plane tickets, potentially leaving the country or going here and there. You need a star for your ID.
Now, yeah, this is different. This is different from the real ID. I heard something about this. I'm not fully invested in this story yet, but I do remember something about a star that's supposed to go on. Is it the ticket or your identification?
So on my license, I do have a star on the top, and I remember correctly. I had to give my birth certificate, my social security card, and I think it was 2 or 3 forms of other identification, like forms of mail, a credit card, stuff like that, to be able to get that. I don't understand why that is not used for voting already.
Good point.
That would help tremendously.
Very good point. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit because I've got a great clip from Sunny Host in Houston, Houston, talking about that. And then I've got a great clip that sort of backs that up, which I think is hilarious. So stick around for that. But I think you're right. Lori in the chat room says that the star is supposed to go on your license. And this is supposed to be the new ID that everyone's supposed to use for traveling. And I think, if Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, this is supposed to be parallel, if not tantamount, to what passports do. Right? So it's something along those lines. And I know that they're trying to streamline it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I never knew what it was for, but I remember I looked online and I got all the forms of identification that I needed, and I remember I got that star years and years ago.
Okay.
I think it was when I got my CDL.
Yeah, I remember that exactly. So. Yeah, this is right. The star on it is the real ID, which it is. I don't even know whether or not do you have to pay for that every year? I wonder if you have to pay for that, or because I remember real ID is supposed to be more expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Other than that is, I just wanted to touch base on. I love that Trump's playing hardball when it comes to tariffs.
And yeah, exactly.
It's making an equal playing field. And you know what? He's the first guy that we've had in a long time in this seat that's willing to step up and actually play that game with the world.
Gotcha.
And I'm happy to see the results. And he knows when to back out.
By the way, they're responding in real time. That's why I love this chat room. Scallywags are on the march. So they say that it's not for flights outside of the U.S. It is a one-time upgrade, Carmela is saying. And in essence, so once it is a one-time upgrade, so then every time you renew your license, you will have that star in it. It will always be a real ID because I guess the old IDs have now been phased out.
Got you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's good. Thank you very much for the information.
You got it, sir. My pleasure. Okay, now, before we go into this, let me say I've got a half a minute. Okay, half a minute to go into this. I want to get those phone calls out of the queue. So now they're out of it. So for those of you who are just joining us, I know a lot of you get here late, and I appreciate that because a lot of you get in your car and you're driving. Now, the contention has been so far that there's no way that the protests going on in Hartford and in and around Connecticut paid for participants. I am here to tell you that is nonsense. Now, I had a conversation with our brand manager. You all know her, Janine, talking about it. And there was something interesting in our conversation. She's not going to be able to codify or certify what I was thinking in our conversation, but we were talking about NPR. That's all I'll say about our conversation. But that's what we were talking about. And we were talking about a couple of things that were related to that. So technically, of course, NPR, they're here in Connecticut, and they are competitors, right? And we understand that. Everybody in the radio business is a competitor to us. And I noticed something in our conversation in talking about NPR, what they do, how they operate. And what I definitely know about Connecticut is that there's a lot of money flowing through here, and specifically through organizations like Indivisible. So I did some digging. And as I would suspect, this isn't rocket science. These political action groups associated with Indivisible are not organic. They are not grassroots. They are all funded and paid for. Everybody gets a check. I'll explain that when we return, so stick around. It's Reese On The Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improve mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make a change for the good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
Living with chronic joint pain is kind of like getting comfortable on a cactus sofa. You're like, what are you talking about? Well, it never feels good, and it's never going to feel good. So if you want to do something about that this spring, especially when it comes to doing the things you love, whether it be golfing, hiking, tennis, or just walking, I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Connecticut are on it, and they're focused on finally getting you the relief that you need. They've already treated thousands of patients around the country and here in Connecticut as well, whether it's your hips, knees, shoulders, back, whatever. QC Kinetics has solid science. They give your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without downtime. It's really incredible stuff, and they have 3 offices here in Connecticut, Glastonbury, New Haven, and in Avon. The consultation's totally free, so if you're sick of doing nothing, do something and talk to them. If you're thinking about doing something like surgery, call them now. 860-440-PAIN. It's 860-440-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics, located in Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. That number again, 860-440-PAIN.
Hiring. Have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
It's Reese on the radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Okay. Lori wrote something in the chat room I thought was brilliant. All you need to go is go back to the story of Lois Lerner at the IRS. And those of you who do know that story, remember that Lois Lerner was the woman who was responsible for going after people who started political action committees, people who started 501c3s and 501c4s, who happened to be conservative. And they made these people jump through hoops. Lois Lerner never, ever served a day in prison for it. She was never held accountable. And when she was asked to go on Capitol Hill, I suggest you look it up. It was an entertaining committee hearing. Trey Gowdy led the charge. Not even as a, he wasn't even the chairman. But I remember him losing his mind as Lois Lerner pled the Fifth and then gave an opening statement. And Trey Gowdy, congressman from South Carolina, said, you don't give an opening statement and then plead the Fifth. You disregard your Fifth Amendment privilege if you give testimony. It was incredible. Anyway, Ashra Nomani. She did the work for the rest of us.
I saw the keying and destruction of Teslas. I saw the attacks on the dealerships. And so I was curious. I was curious who was behind the attacks. An organization called Third Act, which has been organizing many of the protests in the area. And within minutes, I started seeing some familiar faces. And these were people who were activists inside the Democratic Party in Fairfax County, Virginia. I also understood other organizations that were involved, including a major one called Indivisible, which has now, I have learned, organized the protests around the country. 259 groups have been involved in the approximately 900 protests that I have in this database. And who was involved? It was the organizations from the Democratic National Committee apparatus.
900 protests. 900. Let me guess, Hartford? No, they weren't involved in that one. 900 protests. There are 900 cities in the country, not major ones. 900 protests. According to the data, 900 of them were run by what? Indivisible. Want to take a wild guess at how much money they had at their disposal? Listen.
In New Jersey that participated in those protests. You can see it just goes on and on and on. And what we end up having then is a result in which you end up with a chart that I've created that I'm going to be putting online on my website, asranomani.com. And you can start seeing the amount of big money that is involved. 100% of them connected and affiliated with the Democratic National Committee. And they have combined annual revenues of $2.5 billion.
Suck on that. Let's get a first check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good afternoon, Reese. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now and you're on the southbound side of I-91, look for delays from 34 down to 32 A and B. You'll see more slow traffic as you move from approaching 23 and Rocky Hill down to exit 21 in Cromwell. Northbound side of 91, that's in good shape. Cromwell through downtown up in Windsor. Westbound 84 is slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays about a mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. 291 eastbound's a little slow. I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 westbound slowing as you merge with 84 West. 9 northbound slowing as you approach the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound, again, we are dealing with a crash in Berlin, and that's between exit 30 and 31. It's a tractor trailer and a vehicle. Left lane blocked there. Delays are back to exit 29. Behind that, southbound Route 9, you've got delays from the 72 interchange up to exit 33 in Berlin. If you are heading in toward Waterbury, 84 westbound slowing on the Mixmaster. Middletown, 9 northbound, a little slow. Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound in Newtown, delays from 9 up to exit 11 on the eastbound side of 84. And 95 South New Haven slowing from 46 down to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, mostly sunny, breezy, feeling a bit chilly with a high of 47. Clear to partly cloudy, a cold night ahead, the low dropping down to 25. Now Thursday, not a bad day, some sun before turning cloudy. It'll be a touch milder with the high moving up to 52. Then a shower in spots Thursday night, the low down to 37. Occasional rain and drizzle in the morning on Friday, otherwise cloudy, breezy, a bit damp and raw feeling with the high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock, Hartford temperature 46 degrees. Good afternoon, I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. President Trump has reversed course on his trade tariffs for the time being. Correspondent Linda Kenyon is at the White House.
The president says most of his trade tariffs are now on hold.
Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Trump says nations that did not respond by raising tariffs against the United States have been reaching out to negotiate. Even China, he says, wants to make a deal. They just don't know how to go about it. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Just before the close on Wall Street, the Dow was up 2,900 points, up on news of the change of course regarding tariffs back over 40,000. The brother of a Hartford police detective killed in the line of duty says the man responsible should serve the longest sentence possible. Richard Barrington was fleeing a traffic stop when he ran a pair of red lights and struck a police cruiser. Bobby Garton and his partner, Officer Brian Carney, were in back in September 6, 2023. Barrington pled guilty to manslaughter. The state's attorney is recommending a 20-year sentence. Garton's brother, Will, tells WFSB there are two elements to this case.
There's a death, and then there's the partner, which is going to live with lifetime injuries. It's hard not to think about Bobby not every day. We have pictures and his hat's sitting up here. So, yeah, he's just part of our life, always.
Barrington admitted to smoking marijuana prior to the crash and said he was scared after being pulled over during the initial stop. The Waterbury man, who says he was held captive by his stepmother for 20 years, has extensive medical bills. That's according to Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury, which is working with him on many aspects of his life and recovery. The GoFundMe account in the case is approaching its goal of $240,000 thanks to worldwide contributions. Safe Haven Executive Director Amanda Nardozzi says the man, in very poor health when he was rescued in February, is progressing.
He's medically stable and that he is in need of further PT efforts as his legs weren't getting good support. So he'll be going for active PT and through the rehab process.
Nardozzi says that the hope is that he continues to thrive. State House has voted to reappoint Marissa Gillette as chair of PURA, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. Gillette had become somewhat of a lightning rod, as some had blamed her for high electric rates in the state, while utilities accused her of abusing her authority. Republican Representative David Yaccarino of North Haven was a no vote.
And I think her record has been terrible for transparency, for the public, for the ratepayer. As her role as the umpire, if you want to say, or the mediator between the utilities and the ratepayer, it's only been an adversarial role.
Democrat Anthony Nolan of New London says it's up to the legislature to help curb rate increases, including the controversial public benefits portion of electric bills.
But I do understand that if we are going to change this matter, that it definitely has to be done by some legislation where we have to take responsibility as legislatures and either put a cap on it or to just cut it out completely.
Nomination now heads to the Senate for its consideration. Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. The Dow surged over 2,900 points today. News of the president's trade tariff reversal. Back up over 40,608. NASDAQ was up over 12%, 1,857. And the S&P was up over 9.5%, 474. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Coverage varies by plan.
Hold on a minute.
At EnduranceWarranty.com.
Thanks,
Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
So I promised you guys that I was going to do something last night, and I was going to air it today. And I did. I did a quick one, real quick. I'm going to get your view on it. Let me see. I've only got a minute and a half, and it's at least 2 minutes long. So just after the other side of this break, I'm going to take the phone calls real quick. If you want to call in, please do. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. And I'll take those calls on the other side of this break, and then I will play the audio. If you remember, I said that I was going to take some of these audio clips and turn it into an ad for the November elections of 2026. Primarily because there was a lot of talk on the Democrat side in advocating for illegals to stay in the country to pick crops. And in doing it, I went and grabbed all of these sound bites that I was familiar with. But then two things happened. I looked this up, and this is how wild it is. So there was the Dred Scott decision. There was, the case made for why we should keep slavery. And I found one quote in there that I added in the ad. What was crazy about it is that when I read the quote, I realized that I had a clip that absolutely personified the case for slavery. And the words came right out of Jake Tapper's mouth from CNN. That's the most, I couldn't believe it. For me, it was like, oh no, I'm definitely doing this. I don't care how bad it turned out. I thought it turned out pretty good. But I don't care if it turned out bad. That one point alone, the case for slavery, and Jake Tapper talking to Stephen Miller, the assistant deputy chief of staff at the White House, it is amazing and astonishing. And I had to put those clips together. So we'll play that when we get back from the break, plus your phone calls. Now let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Better weather, but how's the traffic doing, Mark?
Well, we do have this one accident, and this is in Berlin, Reese, 9 northbound between exit 30 and 31, left lane blocked. There's a tractor-trailer vehicle accident there, so you've got delays back to exit 29 in Cromwell behind that. This is also affecting the traffic on 91 south from 24 in Rocky Hill down to 22 in the Route 9 interchange if you're trying to exit to 9 northbound. That's the delay there because of that accident. Now, northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell up into Winter. Southbound 91 delays 35 down to 32 A and B in Hartford. If you are on the westbound side of 84, slowing just after 56 Governor Street out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound slows a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue to the Bulkley Bridge. 291 eastbound's a little tight as you move from I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. If you're traveling to westbound, some slow traffic from exit 1D up to the 84 West merge. 9 southbound, you're going to see slow traffic New Britain from the 72 interchange down to exit 35 in New Britain. If you're westbound, 84 a little slow at the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound Danbury tight 3 to 5. 84 eastbound in Newtown slowing by 11. 95 south New Haven tight from 46 down to exit 44 on the southbound side of 95. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC
Clear to partly cloudy and cold tonight. The low dropping down to 26 for us. Then some sun before turning cloudy on Thursday with the high at 52. A shower in spots late Thursday night. The low down to 36. Then occasional rain and drizzle Friday morning. Otherwise cloudy, breezy, a damp, raw, and kind of chilly feeling day with the high even 51. Late night rain Friday night. Some of that could be heavy at times. Then occasional rain and drizzle Saturday. A damp, raw, and cold feeling day Saturday with the high 43. Sunday, warmer, still occasional rain and drizzle around, though, but the high of 53 at least. Right now, 45 in Bristol, 43 in Waterbury, 46 Danbury, and 44 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
It's the Peter L. Brown Company's 65th anniversary. For a limited time, purchase high-performance double-pane windows from the Peter L. Brown Company and get an upgrade to super-efficient triple-pane glass at no additional charge. For a free estimate, please visit peterlbrown.com.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
At Ayala Home Services, we handle hundreds of water heater issues a year. We know how much of an inconvenience no hot water is, and with our fully stocked trucks and warehouse, you can get your hot water back as soon as the same day. Contact the trusted professionals at ALO Home Services when you call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776888, D1040145, D1185643, S330869, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Hey, baseball fans, you can win tickets to a Boston Red Sox game with the Red Sox Player of the Game contest. Just listen when we announce the player of the game during the 7th inning stretch. That would be during the break in the middle of the 7th inning, during every game broadcast on WTIC. Then tune into Brian and Company the following morning at 8:10. Know the player of the game, be the correct caller, and you'll win a pair of tickets to an upcoming game in Boston. It's the Red Sox Player of the Game contest, only on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt?
1 minute.
You can't tell me we don't have more commercials.
Payments. With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National...
What you mean?
Notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with
feels like there are more commercials at this break.
Debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was only 3 commercials.
Or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 commercials.
All right, okay.
National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000
Maybe I'm just too glaring to go.
consumers. So don't wait.
You're impatient.
$1,000 in credit card debt.
I am
now
guilty.
Take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction
in 10.
Call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207
and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1.
4545.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio, on News Talk 1080, WTIC.
And we're back. I'm going to get to the phones real quick. I apologize. I am going to get to the phones. I do want to play this bit. Again, yesterday I talked about this Jasmine Crockett, talking about, we ain't going back to picking cotton. And again, this appears to be a theme throughout the Democrat Party. And look, it has to be seized upon. It's got to be seized upon as a party. I think that they're going so far down the tubes that how do you not seize on this idea that they want illegals in the country so that they can pick crops? I saw a great political picture today, a cartoon. On one half, it was Michelle Obama holding up the sign, "Bring back our girls." And then the picture next to her was some person, I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was a picture of somebody in the Democrat Party. They were holding up a sign that says, bring back our gangs, talking about Trende Aragua. So that's what they've turned into, which is actually kind of funny. Yeah, to clean toilets. Let me play it first because the phones are starting to heat up, so I don't want to miss my opportunity because I've only got a short window. So here it is. I call it Picking Cotton Democrats of 2026. Goes a little something like this. Come on now. Democrats will always be the party of slavery and Jim Crow. And when it comes to illegal immigration, they can't help but show who they really are.
This legislation passed, making it easier to get at people who are already here legally, and you have no immigration, then we would have no food on our plates. We would have nobody cleaning up in the hospitals.
It's the people in the service industry that are cleaning the restrooms that we use when we go out with our family and friends.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Defenders of slavery argued that the sudden end to the slave economy would have a profound and killing economic impact in the South, where reliance on slave labor was the foundation of their economy.
The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
I'm sure it's not your position that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time.
Why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here.
In November of 2026, let's send a message to the party of slavery, Jim Crow, soft bigotry, the Trail of Tears, internment camps, COVID lockdowns, child mutilation,
and immigrant slave labor no more.
Oh, Lordy, pick a bill of day. Oh, Lordy, pick a bill of cotton. Oh, Lordy, pick a bill of day.
Tell me what you think. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. I'll play it again later on in the show. So if you're interested, let's go back to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Steve is in Middletown. How are you, Steven?
Hey, that commercial was great.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Hey, from what I gather, just watching some YouTube videos and such, the going rate was $100 to show up to those protests.
The going rate was $100 for you to show up.
Yeah, $10 more if you brought your own sign.
Yes, I did. Yes, there were plenty of people, and I think in smaller places they were paying $100 for 2 hours, but in essence, sort of like $100 an hour. I mean, sorry, $50 an hour. In other places, they charged as much as $25 an hour, and you got an extra $10 if you brought your own sign, if that met the requirement.
Yep, and I hear you had to take or answer a questionnaire before.
Yeah, I played the young lady yesterday that said that there were roughly about 8 questions that she had to ask, but she could not. I'm going to see if I can, because her TikTok video was taken down. Apparently, she was attacked like wildly on TikTok. She had to take her profile down after she was attacked.
I'm sure she was. And also, I heard that the buses for a lot of the big places were financed by the CCP.
A Chinese affiliated organization. That you're right about. Not directly from the CCP. In fact, one of the groups that was associated with William Tong's protest in Hartford on Saturday was part of the Communist Party. They were one of the sponsors.
That figures.
Yeah, so there was a few reports about that, but those were in the independent news outlets. Unfortunately, we couldn't rely on the mainstream news to cover that. But yeah, a lot of people knew about that, and at least the Communist Party, they were parading around. Hey, we got William Tong on our side. You know, it's like it's hilarious that the groups that he would never want to be associated with are parading him around as this celebrity, where he, on the other hand, if you asked him, it was like no comment.
Hey, keep up the good work.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, sir. Let's go to our good friend Fred in Middletown. How are you, sir?
Hey, good. I just wanted to reiterate something that Jesse Kelly is always saying, that the main weapon of the revolution is the mass migration. That's their strong thing. They use all of it. But they could even let the trans thing go with the migration. That's kind of their death blow,
Yeah, because to them it's permanent. It's permanent power, right? You get them in. You get in essence, you get the permanent underclass. That's the most important thing. The permanent underclass
well, to bring down the existing structure. That's the point.
Right.
Whoever it is, he made this point. He said Mao used racism. He's like, what? They're all Chinese. Oh, no, China's like here. Different people came at different times.
That's right.
And he pitted these. You knew that, yeah.
That's right. Really and I know the Cultural Revolution is an amazing. It's an amazing part of our history that people ignore. Yeah. People ignore that, And I always say this. I remember the first time I was a kid, Fred. As being naive and being a 7th grader, I got my first 2 Chinese kids in my 7th grade class. They were in my homeroom, Raymond and Billy. And it was the first time I'd ever heard a Chinese name. Raymond's, birth name was Wei Meng Chong. And I said, Wei Meng. He said, yeah, that's why they call me Raymond, because it sounds more American. I'm like, okay. They were the first people to explain to me. So I was like, so do you both speak Chinese? And Raymond goes, no, I speak Cantonese. And the other one goes, I speak Mandarin. And I went, what? Right. I thought y'all all spoke just Chinese. So then I'm starting to say, whoa, so he goes, yeah, there are different provinces. And I'm like, I'm getting this education in the 7th grade going, oh, wow. So, And then you learn about what the wall was about.
That was a hilarious little documentary there, by the way.
Thank you.
That you did there. The history of the Democrat Party. Yeah, that was pretty cute.
Thank you, sir. I
All right,
appreciate
thank
that.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, let's get to John in the car. Hey, John, I heard you had to call back a couple of times. I'm sorry about that, buddy. John?
Hello.
Hey, John, you there?
Yeah, hi. Yep, I'm here. Thanks a lot.
No problem, sir.
I want to say, yeah, not a problem. Yeah, thanks a lot for taking my call. And I am so happy that Indivisible is actually organizing some protests around this country.
Okay.
And actually fighting back against the Kochs and Musk as well. The American people are sick and tired of Elon Musk and taking over the government with his teenage Doge boys. And you're laughing.
No, I just never, when people refer to them as the teenage Doge boys, I can't help but laugh because it's supposed to be a slight. Hold on. It's supposed to be a slight.
It would be here's the slight. Don't be a Doge. That's
okay. Hold on for a second, John. Let's have a conversation because apparently you're opposed to Elon Musk and his teenage Doge boys. But I got to ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? First of all, if they're teenagers, hold on. They're teenagers. Is it fair to say? Wait, John. Let me ask the question. Is it fair to assess that these teenage Doge boys are at least gifted tech people who understand technology? Is that fair to assess here?
I have no idea.
Okay, so then, wait. Let's stop, John.
If it was Soros, hold on. If it was Soros, what would you guys say?
Soros?
Like what? Or Gates? Well, no. If it was Gates or Soros, you'd be like, what the hell?
I'll be happy to answer you, John. If you stop flailing, John. If you stop flailing.
I'm not flailing.
So Jen,
I just listened to Rand rave a little while ago. You're flailing. I'm not flailing.
Okay, so John, thank you. Okay, so I want to answer several things. Okay, because you made a lot of comments here. First, let's start with the teenage Doge boys. Okay. Now, this ridiculous argument that you're making that Elon Musk and these teenagers are not equipped to go into our stop interrupting. I thought you said we were going to have a dialogue. I thought you said we were going to have a dialogue.
I'm having a dialogue.
So let me finish. Let me finish. So these teenagers and Elon Musk, who are probably the most gifted people we've seen in a technological
I don't know that. You don't know that.
No, actually, I do know that because hold on.
I want the facts. You don't know
John, you don't want to have a conversation. You want to talk over me. So do you want
to? I'm listening to you.
So stop interrupting.
I'm not interrupting. Go ahead.
Thank you. You're not interrupting? Okay. Now, you say you don't know that. I don't care whether or not you know that. I do. So whether or not
you don't know that.
No, actually, you don't know what I know. So stop telling me what I know. You don't even know me.
So go ahead.
John, you don't even know me.
You don't know me. Go ahead.
Thank you. So you don't know what I know. I'm not talking about what you know. I don't know anything about what you know. I know what I know, and you're telling me what I do and do not know. So please stop, because I told you I do know. Now,
go ahead.
They're obviously technologically advanced more than I am. I don't know if they're more than you. Maybe you have more information that maybe you're. I don't care. The point is that the point still remains. Hold on. The point still remains that Elon Musk is going in to find waste, fraud, and abuse, and he's making it public. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. You don't have to agree with it. And if you think Indivisible,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Okay, if you think Indivisible, getting a bunch of folks to protest across the country,
Americans.
That's right, average Americans, who, by the way, can do nothing. John, they can do nothing.
The boys with guns. Thank you.
Okay, John, they can do nothing by walking through the streets, protesting and holding signs. This does nothing. Tell me the effect that it has on the actual things happening in Washington by walking through the street, holding signs.
It actually does have a lot of effect.
Tell me what it does.
People are talking and saying, people are connecting as a community and saying, what's happening in America is wrong.
Oh, okay. So they're talking about things that are happening that are wrong. So tell me how this materializes. How does this materialize into changing things? How does that materialize? The talking and the Facebooking. No, I know. The Facebooking and the social media posting. Tell me how that changes what's going on. Guess what happened yesterday? Guess what happened yesterday after the protests? After the protests were over on Monday, guess what happened? Doge still went on. Guess what happened yesterday after the protest? Doge continued to go through the waste, fraud, and abuse. So please spare me with the that Indivisible got their...
If they were elected.
Who was elected?
Then there would be a different story.
Now let me answer your other ridiculous question. Let me answer your other ridiculous question. If it was George Soros, do I have to? I don't care. Listen to me. Bob Steele is no longer here. If you want to go travel back in time in your DeLorean, go do that. But let's just put you on hold so you can listen. Because you're doing a lot of talking and you do no listening. And I hate putting people on hold. But you refuse to just adhere to the rules. So I'll say it to you while you shout to nobody. And I'll make you listen. If it was George Soros, Jeff Bezos, or Bill or Gates, the fact remains, Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Kim Fox, who's the LA district attorney? I can't even remember his name, but he's already gone. How many other countless district attorneys did George Soros fund? And then they twisted themselves up into pretzels about how they didn't fund anything. What did Alvin Bragg do to the city of New York? What did Kim Fox do to the city of Chicago? Gascon, that's his name, in California. What did Gascon do to California? That was behind the scenes funding. That was behind the scenes gerrymandering. All of that stuff was going on. Spare me the nonsense. What if it was we had to take it? That's how we got Alvin Bragg. That's how we got Kim Fox. We had to take it. Now, it's your turn. Take it. Now he's left. Bye, John. Call back soon. Let's get another check of the traffic and weather. Jason Catarinas has got your weather, and Mark Christopher's at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, bud.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon. If you're 91 southbound coming into downtown Hartford, look for delays from exit 36 down to 32 A and B. In Hartford, you're going to see more slow traffic as you move down into Rocky Hill. From approaching exit 23 down to exit 22, the Route 9 interchange. We have an accident 9 northbound in Berlin between exit 31 and exit 30 and 31. Tractor trailer versus vehicle accident. Left lane block there. Delays back to 29 in Cromwell behind that problem. 9 southbound, look for delays from the 72 interchange down to exit 35 in New Britain. If you are traveling into Hartford on the westbound side of 84, delays 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound, you're locked up about a mile before 46 Cissna Avenue down to the Bulkley. If you're traveling 291 eastbound, a little slow coming off of I-91 toward the Bissell Bridge. 2 westbound is slowing in East Hartford from 1D up to the 84 West merge. On the westbound side of Route 2. 9 northbound, Middletown slowing by the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound, Waterbury delays 22 to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound slowing by 18 in Waterbury. 84 east in Danbury, tight 3 to 5. Again, some sluggish traffic from 9 in Newtown out to exit 11. Southbound Parkway, a little tight as you approach the West Rock Tunnel. We're seeing some slow traffic now. 91 northbound, North Haven between exit 10 and 11. 95 south, New Haven slowing 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
This traffic report is being brought to you by Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods.
This week at Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods, local hickory-smoked spiral-cut hams are only $3.99 per pound. Plus, Stu's naked leg of lamb, boneless, butterflied, or roasts are just $6.99 per pound. Save $3. For more savings, visit StuLeonards.com.
Well, the rest of our Wednesday, it'll be breezy, mostly sunny, and feeling a bit chilly with the high of 47. Clear to partly cloudy, a cold night ahead with the low down to 25. Now some sun to start the day on Thursday before turning cloudy, a touch milder with the high at the 52. We'll get a shower in spots Thursday night with the low down to 37. Then occasional rain and drizzle in the morning Friday. Otherwise cloudy, breezy, feeling a bit damp and raw with the high at 51 Friday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC News Update.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. Financial markets reacted to word this afternoon that President Trump is now pausing tariffs on most countries for 90 days, the exception being China, which will now be subject to a 125% tariffs. All the markets finished way up today upon hearing that news. East Haven police on the lookout for the driver of an SUV who struck a pedestrian in town and sped off. Nissan was last seen on Foxen Road heading toward New Haven. on Tuesday. There's no word on the condition of the victim. Family of a Hartford police detective killed in the line of duty in 2023 is not happy with the potential sentence the driver of the car that hit Detective Bobby Garton's cruiser may receive. Richard Barrington had sped away from a previous traffic stop before hitting the police car with Garton and another officer who was seriously injured. Woman recovering after a tire struck her vehicle on Interstate 95 in Milford Tuesday. This happened near northbound exit 39A. Woman had to be extricated from that car. Iran's president has again pledged his nation is not after a nuclear bomb. Ahead of talks between Tehran and the U.S., he even dangled the prospect of direct American investment in the Islamic Republic if the countries can reach a deal. And LeBron James has become the first professional male athlete to have his likeness depicted in a Ken doll. Mattel unveiled the LeBron Ken doll to kick off the toy manufacturer's Kenbassador series. Last year, 9 female athlete Barbies, including Venus Williams, were introduced. Wall Street, the Dow finished up just under 8% today, 2962. NASDAQ was up 12%, 1857, and the S&P gained 474 points, up 9.5%. Baseball on TIC this evening, right after the 6 o'clock news. We will take air with the pregame show ahead of the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. Yanks beat the Tigers in Detroit today, 5-3. Mets shut out at Citi Field by the Marlins, 5-0. NBA tonight, Celtics travel to Orlando. NHL, the Rangers host Philly. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Individual results may vary. Prescription required. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
You've noticed your hair is thinning out. Or maybe you've noticed your game in the bedroom is getting a bit cold. Let's make this real simple. These are normal things that happen to lots of guys at some point. And through Hims, getting help couldn't be more, as we said, simple. The process is 100% online, so you just have to answer a few simple questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. For your hair, that means access to a range of doctor-trusted treatments designed to help you regrow hair in as few as 3 to 6 months. And for your more intimate moments, that means access to treatments made to give you a boost in the bedroom, like Viagra, Cialis, and their generic counterparts, which can cost up to 95% less through Hims. If prescribed, treatment is shipped right to your door. A few clicks, and you're dealing with these things before they become a thing. So simple. Find your hair loss and ED solutions today at Hims.com. That's Hims.com. HIMS.com.
Hey, Green Goblin, you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if you're changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
Soros owns the station. Soros owns the station. Soros owns the station. You want me to say it? I'll say it. Nobody's hindering anything over here. I don't ask for permission to do this show. I do the show. I do the show. If you didn't hear me, I said, as John asked, you may have heard it. How would I feel if it were George Soros? And I mentioned all three of them. Alvin Bragg, Kim Fox, Gascon, countless others. Everybody complained for years. You know, they did it on this network. Complained about money being used in order to bolster the campaigns of several people. The likes of all over the Democrat Party. We had an issue with it. We had to deal with it. There was nothing we could do about it. There were no protests. We all sat on our hands and screamed and hollered at the moon. We dealt with it. Now it's your turn. See how that works? Now it's your turn. Yeah, the Koch brothers used to be the most hated group in the world of brothers. Could not stand the Kochs. I remember all the protests. I've been at many of them where they were screaming down the Koch brothers. I remember when I first heard of them, I was just like the Coca-Cola people? The Koch brothers were immediately, absolutely admonished. You wonder why they're not today? Want to know why they're not today? They did the one thing that you have to do in order to be embraced by the left. Hate Trump. That's it. That's exactly what they did. One of the brothers came out and said, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Trump. What did the left do? Koch brothers, my friends, my brother, Numsi, come hug me. Koch brothers weren't the bad guys anymore. Notice there's no protest about them today? What about Mitt Romney? Mitt Romney was, when he ran against Barack Obama, the most hated, the most reviled individual in the world. Came out against Donald Trump. Oh, brother Numsi, come, give me a hug. F up out of here. Nobody tells me what to do on this show. Roland, do I come to you and I tell you what the show is about when I come in? Do I tell you anything?
Nope.
Do I tell you, hey, have this soundbite, that soundbite? Do I? Do I ever tell you, hey, we're going to talk about this, that, and the third? Do I ever do that?
Nope.
Okay. Eat a bag of donuts, homie. Eat a bag of donuts. I'm dripping with integrity, soaked in it. You got a problem with that? Come at me. Anyway, let's get another check of the traffic and weather. Jason Catarinas is your weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. How we doing out there, Mark?
Yeah, if you're going to come after Reese, you better have your facts all lined
Have
up.
them ready, baby.
Because if you don't, he is going to undress you very quickly on a 50,000-watt radio station.
There you go.
So keep that in mind. This traffic report being brought to you by the Columbia Implant Center.
Won't be no undressing.
Delays 34 down to 32 A and B.
It's FCC regulations.
And you'll see delays again approaching 24 down to 22. The Route 9 interchange. We have an accident 9 northbound in Berlin between exit 30 and 31. And right now, the left lane is blocked there. It's a tractor-trailer vehicle accident. Delays 9 north back to exit 29 in Cromwell behind that. Now, 9 southbound, you've got delays from the 72 interchange down to exit 35 in New Britain. If you're traveling 91 northbound, that looks good. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound side of 84 is slowing 56 Governor Street out to exit 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound delays a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue down to the Bulkley. 291 eastbound's a little slow. I-91 over to the Bissell. 2 westbound slowing from exit 1D up to the 84 West merge. Quiet in Middletown. Waterbury slowing 84 westbound 22 to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound slowing by exit 18 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound Danbury delays 3 to 5. Again, some slow traffic 84 eastbound from 9 to 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway, look out for an accident now reported just prior to the West Rock Tunnel. Delays are back to exit 60 in Hamden behind that. 95 South New Haven slowing 46 down to 44. Stuck in traffic again? Don't waste another minute. Columbia Implant Center in Manchester gets you in and out fast, often in just one day. Open 7 days a week. Get your smile back now. Columbia Implant Center, ColumbiaImplantCenter.com. Traffic and weather together on the 8s WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC.
I like that, Carmela. That's funny.
As we head through tonight, clear to partly cloudy. Going to be a cold night, too. The low down to 26. Some sun, then turning cloudy on Thursday, the high of 52. A shower in spots Thursday night. Damp and chilly with the low down to 36. Then occasional drizzle and rain in the morning on Friday. Otherwise, a cloudy, breezy. Again, that damp, raw kind of chill to the day, especially with the breeze and the high of 51. Late night rain Friday night, heavy at times. That's going to lead to occasional rain and drizzle on Saturday. Certainly a damp, raw, and chilly, cold-feeling day on Saturday with the high 43. Occasional rain still Saturday night and into the day on Sunday, but it'll be warmer Sunday at least, a little bit, the high up to 43. Right now, it's 45 in Mansfield, 43 in New London, 46 in New Haven, and 46 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hi, this is Brian Kilmeade from Fox & Friends. Have you checked out my radio show, The Brian Kilmeade Show? Listen weekdays at 9 a.m. on NewsTalk 1080. We're talking about the issues that matter most to you. We're giving you the breaking news, talking to the newsmakers you want to hear from. Where does President Trump take the country? Where do the Democrats go from here? We are covering all this in great depth and so much more. The Brian Kilmeade Show, weekdays, 9 a.m. on NewsTalk 1080. Listen to your radio, smart speaker, or on the free Odyssey app.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, retirement, maybe even kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you really need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. We're committed to helping protect your personal interests and the life you've built. Don't let divorce take more than it has to. Talk to us today.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Hartford area attorneys. Phyllis McCutcheon, licensed in Connecticut. Online at CordellCordell.com.
I had the worst dream last
night. A minute.
A car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com.
All right, here we go.
Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Either my shirt is looser or I'm losing weight. And I know that all of my shirts are the same size because they're from the same company. But this shirt that I'm wearing today is actually, it feels looser. It doesn't feel as tight. So I'm worried about whether or not I'm losing weight. And when I'm worried about myself losing weight, it's not because I feel like I'm being healthy. It's always something more, like far more dire. Like I immediately think sickly. I never think, oh, you know what? I'm eating better. Maybe that's the reason why I'm toning down. But no, I immediately go to something horrible. When I was 14, did I tell you the story when I was 14, Roland? Because I stayed skinny forever. I never told you that. When I was 14, I couldn't gain a pound, and my metabolism was really, really high. I could, like any 14-year-old, I could eat anybody out of house and home, but I would never gain any weight, not even like a little pot belly. And it was really bad. And I remember asking my Aunt Sophia. She goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I was just like, "I don't know. I'm just concerned." She's like, "Concerned about what?" I was like, "Well, no matter how much I eat, whether it's junk food or whatever, you know, I just never gain weight. I think I have AIDS." And she just looked at me and she said, "Oh, poor baby." She goes, "No, you're just skinny. That's all it is." But yeah, I'm a hypochondriac by nature. I'm afraid of heights. I'm also claustrophobic and a bit of a hypochondriac. I just am. I don't know why. I try not to, but it's incredibly hard. So immediately when I say I'm losing weight, I immediately start thinking of the worst. Let's do this thing.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The stupidest thing I read today is brought to us by our listener, good friend, supporter, Donald. Donald lives, of course, in the Hartford area, I believe. He sent me this story. And when he sent it to me at Facebook Messenger. By the way, friend me on Facebook. I respond to everybody you send me. I got somebody sending me a song right now. People send me stuff all the time. I try to respond to everyone. I don't ever want a staff member. Like, I don't want to get a staff where they're responding to you. I want to be the guy that responds to you. So friend me on Facebook if you ever have an idea for the show or just want to say hello or pick my mind about something, a story that you're watching and you want me to talk about. it's always great to just go on Facebook. Our generation goes on Facebook, so send it to me. So Don sent this to me with the headline, "You have got to read this." And so I did. And maybe Don doesn't read stories the way that I do. That's not a slight on him. I just read stories differently. And I'm always asking questions because I know that the writer isn't. They're just writing the story. And sometimes they can't help but give a little bit of editorial in that story. Let me read this to you. Pregnant black woman ticketed for walking on the wrong side of the road in Texas, just feet from her home. And in the story, it says Texas police ticketed a pregnant black woman for allegedly walking on the wrong side of the road while she was looking for her dog in an incident she calls an excessive force of power. Akia Towns was trying to retrieve her dog just 2 houses down from where she lives, walking on the right side of Madison Boulevard in Groves on Wednesday when police approached her. She says, quote, "The 2 cops stopped me. They walked out with their hands on their guns, and then they asked me to see my ID. Brad Towns, her husband, who is white, started filming the wife and his wife's exchange with law enforcement on his phone. Can't walk while black in Groves," he can be heard saying repeatedly in the video, which he captured of the officers talking to his wife. They got crackheads, robbers, and all this other stuff, and they want to arrest a black person, a pregnant black woman, looking for her dog. He continues to say that in the video, which I did watch and listen to. And I immediately said, okay, calm down. The husband reveals something without realizing he reveals something. Thank you, Joe G. Much appreciated, sir. And thanks for watching on YouTube, because a lot of people do. So I appreciate you being there. So here's the thing that her husband, Brad, reveals in his diatribe on the video that immediately made me take a step back. And that is, Brad is admitting that there are crackheads and robbers in his town. And I thought that was a weird admission. To say, oh, the cops are harassing my pregnant black wife when they got crackheads and robbers all around here that they could be tending to. So that means that police officers are on edge because there are crackheads and robbers in town. So when they see a woman walking down the street and they see her walking on the wrong side of the street, which again is, you can be ticketed for. You can't be walking with traffic on a road that has no sidewalk. You have to be walking against traffic so that you can see the vehicles coming your way. But no police officer knows that she's looking for her dog. They just notice she is walking with traffic on the side of the road. And I implore you to go look at the video. Go look it up. But this is what blew my mind. Is that the headline reads, and I'll read it again, pregnant black woman ticketed for walking on the wrong side of the road in Texas just feet from her home. Now, the police don't know where she lives. And then I watched the video, and I went to go see a picture of the pregnant woman. Now, if you're listening on the radio or on the Odyssey app and you can't see it, that's fine. I'm going to wait for the people in the chat room to start describing what they see while I describe to you what I see. This is a black woman, her hair out. She's not an unattractive young lady. She is, as the boys would refer to her, well-built. Yeah, Zach in the chat room said, damn, she cute. They all say that. Zach, since you're the first person to speak up, does that photograph of that woman taken from the video, does that woman look pregnant to you? She is wearing a cropped top that is exposing her midriff. Jason D says, I see a working woman, in essence, working the street. I did not go that far, but yes, I can see where someone might suggest that. Again, this is a woman walking down the street with a purse in her pocket. She's wearing tight jeans and a midriff top, a top that exposes her belly. She's allegedly pregnant, according to the husband. She is looking, as the boys would say, fine as hell. She is no slouch. I'm not kidding you. She is no slouch. And if that neighborhood has, Brad's quote, not mine, crackheads and robbers, we are looking at a location or a destination that may be riddled with crime. Perhaps prostitution as well. Rama says, is that Jasmine Crockett? Zach also writes, Frank and Woodbridge would be all over her. That's all you need to know right there. That's all you need to know right there. She does not look pregnant. She's just walking down the street with a purse in her hand, looking good, and she's just aimlessly walking around. So they pulled her over to say, hey, you're walking on the wrong side, and they ticketed her. Again, no arrest at all. And the police officer, the female police officer, even walks up to the husband and says, no, listen, this is the law. This is what we're citing. And it's for our own protection. We're just giving her a ticket. Nobody got arrested. It's not a big deal at all. So it's the reason why I called it the stupidest thing I read today, because someone's trying to make it racial. And, of course, I mean, I guess in some way sort of like disrespectful because she's pregnant. I wouldn't have been able to guess she was pregnant in this picture. She doesn't look at it at all. So if you want to see the picture, go to reseontheradio.com. That's reseontheradio.com. And check this portion of the show so you can get a look of what the young lady looks like. It's not the close-up, a good close-up. It's a pretty good picture, but you get to see her during the whole thing because this is from the husband's vantage point, so he never really comes up on the police officers. He keeps his distance about a good 50 feet away. So Lori says she should probably protect herself and dress with less exposed if it's that dangerous in the neighborhood. Yeah, I agree. I don't see it as racial. I see it as simple policing, stating, yes, that's all it is. It's not racial. Now, Donald, who sent me the story, says that he was expecting for me to boost his blood pressure when I give him my take. I'm just saying, I don't see anything racial here. I just don't. I think that somebody's putting a little 10 on the 2 right here. Anyway, Sokolowski says, should have just given her a warning, not a ticket. I would agree with that. Why didn't the husband come to her defense? I guess he kept shouting. Michael A. says, where's Al Sharpton? Let's go to Fulton in Waterbury. How are you, sir?
Hey, what's going on? I just want to thank you for the bagels yesterday.
My pleasure, sir.
I want to ask one question. Why, when John and Tim, they have these general, like, I don't like Elon Musk and the Dogecoin. I don't like this. I don't like that. But they never give any specifics. Like, I wish you would hold them to the fire and say, like, well, specifically, what don't you like? What don't you like that he discovered, uncovered, did? Like,
I can totally explain. Fulton, can I explain that to you, where that's from? It's the entitlement culture. You know, you remember when the Reagan era was around, they called it the me generation? This generation is the entitled generation. And it is, you know, people walking down the street talking about how that offends me. And because of that, everyone else has to change their ways. That's the entitlement. There used to be, you know, again, I used to call it the participation trophy on steroids. Everyone wants to be acknowledged for the way in which things make them feel, and everyone else has to adhere. And by not adhering, that is the personal slight. It's like, succumb to me, I think that's offensive. And that's what John and Tim and these guys are all saying. I don't like it, so it's got to change. Which doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, you don't like it, and my response to that is, so what?
But what don't they like? Like, what don't they like that they're looking at?
That's the beauty. I think in a lot of ways, Fulton, you kind of answer your own question. Let me explain to you why. Because they don't need a reason for not liking them. Right? Because remember, the entitlement culture means I don't have to have a reason. I just don't like it.
No, I think John will just call and scream at you. But I think Tim actually, in his voice, sounds like he cares about people. But I think it's like a lifeboat. Like, people can fit in the lifeboat if the plane goes down. Maybe not everybody, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but like I said, the entitlement of these guys, again, you know, it sort of absolves them of having to reason and at least articulate what it is that offends them. right? Because when they're put up against the, it's like, well, it seems wrong. I was like, but that's not enough. I need you to explain why it's wrong. And then they've never gone that far. They just know that, well, it seems like a lot of
Trump a racist. And you say, well, what'd he say?
Yeah.
They go, well, not you know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't have all the time to go through the list.
You know what he says? I'm like, no, I don't. Tell me.
Yeah, it's usually the case. I wish, you know what? As many times as they've been asked to explain it, you think they'd have done the research by now. But again, like I said, they don't think that they have to.
Tim calls up and says, this is actually what I don't like. Here it is. I don't like that he went in and got rid of this, and this, and it affects me personally.
Yeah.
And people are affected. I don't even know anybody that got fired. I don't know anybody. It hasn't. Nothing he's done touched me. And anyway,
I'm actually, it's so funny because tomorrow I'm going to actually have a conversation about that. A good friend of mine, Apple, she works for the government. She works in Washington. She works in D.C. And she talked about how her department got doged. And I had a long talk with her about it. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow because I never shared this with anybody. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Fulton. I appreciate you. Donald says, Reese, just as I expected, you never acknowledge racism exists. No, Donald, that's not fair, nor is it accurate. Of course racism exists. Okay, now you have me on the record. At 4:57 and 15 seconds, racism does exist, but it's not everywhere. That's the whole difference between you and I. It exists, but not everywhere. And you and I could get somewhere if we just admit it exists, but it just ain't everywhere. And if you have to look at it as simple as, some fine-looking woman walking down the street getting a ticket for walking in the wrong way is racism, come on, man. If we can't see eye to eye there, there's no use. Jason Caterina's got weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Do you have sidewalks where you live, Mark?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
so you have sidewalks. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Have you ever when you walk down on the road and doesn't have sidewalks, do you naturally walk with the cars coming up behind you?
Not always. No.
Yeah, I don't. I've done it before, and it scares the hell out of me because I'm always thinking, what if some guy just, loses control, or is not watching the road or on his cell phone? So I always walk in the opposite direction. I just think I understand why police officers are really, really, sticklers about it.
This isn't racism in my case, but I'm tired of the women and the cat calls when I walk by with the dogs. I mean, it's really.
Knock it off, ladies.
Yeah,
He's
really
taken.
Enough already. Please. It's getting embarrassing. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 91 southbound delays 35 down to 32 A and B. Got more slow traffic as you move from exit 25 S&N and Weathersfield down to exit 22. Now, on 9 northbound, we have a crash in the left lane between exit 30 and 31. Now, the crash involves a tractor trailer and a vehicle, so you want to stay to the right there. Delays back to exit 29 behind that. Northbound 91, that's moving while Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is slowing as you approach 56 Governor Street up to 45 Flatbush Avenue. Eastbound 84, you've got delays from 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. By the way, I forgot to say this, but this traffic report is being brought to you by Tab Computer Systems, a 100% employee-owned company. Great people. Westbound 84 is slowing in East Hartford, exit 1D up to the 84 West merge. Heading into Middletown, both sides of 9 heavy at the Aragoni Bridge. If you're heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound delays by exit 18. Westbound 84 slowing from 25A up to the Mixmaster. Heading into Danbury, 84 eastbound slowing 3 to 5. And again, from 10 to 11 in Newtown. If you're southbound Parkway, look for some slow traffic from 60 in Hamden into the West Rock. 95 South New Haven slowing 46 down to 43. At Tab Computer Systems, our employee owners are dedicated to your business success. We offer affordable enterprise-grade solutions in cybersecurity, VoIP, compliance, IT consulting, implementation, and support. Technologies advancing business. Tab Computer Systems. Traffic and weather together on the 8s WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 46 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The WTIC Weather Center forecast for tonight, clear to partly cloudy skies. It's cold, low in the mid-20s. We got some sun, then the clouds roll in for Thursday, highs in the low 50s. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, we've got cloudy skies. There's still the chance of a shower in the low 30s. And for our Friday, we bring in occasional rain and drizzle in the morning. That tapers down, and then we just are left with cloudy conditions, breezy too, highs in the low 50s. Late word this afternoon that the parade for the UConn women's basketball team, the parade and rally, was scheduled for Saturday. Looks like it is being moved to Sunday due to the inclement weather. President Trump did somewhat of an about-face on tariffs today. White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
Baseline tariff of 10% that went into effect on April 5th on most of the world remains in place. A 125% tariff now slapped on China. That will continue. Tariffs on things like steel, aluminum, and other goods also remain in place.
The news saw the market surge into positive territory for the first time since Trump announced the widespread tariffs 1 week ago. NYU professor Colin Slaybach on what could happen next.
You're going to see a lot of labels removed that say made in China, and there's going to be some sort of intermediary country who is kind of facilitating this process to avoid the tariffs and get to the United States.
The executive director of the nonprofit helping the Waterbury man who says he was held captive for 20 years says he is progressing and says she is hopeful he continues to thrive. Public support has been strong. The GoFundMe account in the case has surpassed a goal of $240,000. The goal has now been reset to $270,000. Amanda Nardozzi of Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury says the money will be used to cover extensive medical expenses.
Once Medicaid is able to kick in, I know they're actively looking to start that process, but those bills that have come prior to him getting on the state insurance would need to be covered. So we're actively trying to work to get that resolved really quickly for him.
Nardozzi says the man is in rehab getting physical therapy, especially to strengthen his legs. There's a link to the fundraiser on the WTIC website. State House has approved Marissa Gillette's nomination for another term as chair of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. The nomination process has been fraught with controversy, with some saying Gillette has abused her authority and laying the blame on her for skyrocketing electricity costs. Democratic State Representative Jose Concepcion, the chair of the Executive and Legislative Nominations Committee, says Gillette's done a good job.
Some of the things that she mentioned were some of the initiatives that she's already started, right? I mentioned the Office of Education and Outreach. Another thing she had mentioned was the modernization of the grid initiatives and, of course, working with our utilities.
But Republican Representative Joe Canino said he could not vote for Gillette.
The number one issue I hear day in and day out from my constituents is, Joe, what are you doing to protect the ratepayers from further increases and to make sure that we are doing a good job in regulating and passing energy policy in the state of Connecticut? And when you have a terrible regulatory climate in your state, prices go up for everybody.
The nomination now heads to the state Senate for consideration. Democrats at the Capitol considering the declaration of a budget emergency as they try and craft a new 2-year state spending plan in the face of numerous federal cuts. State House Speaker Matt Ritter thinks it's the right path forward.
But I've read what other states are doing, and a lot of states are cutting services, raising taxes. Those that have early adjournments that have already, like Maryland's already done, and they're raiding their budget reserve fund. Yeah. The thing is, they don't know, and we're doing the opposite. We're not doing that. We're just pausing it.
House Republican leader Vin Candelora disagrees.
Right now, we should be making adjustments to this current year budget to bring the spending under control, and we should get together in a bipartisan way and work on a budget that is balanced within our guardrails. But by saying you're going to blow up the guardrails first and then decide later how you're going to spend suggests to me that they already want to spend well beyond the $1 billion that they're allowed to spend.
The death toll now at least 124 in the roof collapse of a nightclub in the Dominican Republic. Correspondent Christian Benavides is in Santo Domingo.
I just spoke to the Minister of Health for the Dominican Republic. He told me that there's currently a list of about 80 people that are thought to be unaccounted for. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're buried under the rubble, but it does mean that they have family members out here actively looking for them.
Dow was up 7.8% today to 2962. NASDAQ gained 1,857 points, up 12%, and the S&P was up 474 points at 9.5%. Red Sox baseball tonight on TIC. Right after the 6 o'clock news, we will join the pregame show in progress ahead of the 6:45 first pitch between the Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays from Fenway Park. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
This is Dale from
1 minute.
Our erectile dysfunction.
And you're pretty much just going right to traffic.
Over 90% of cases. Here is one of our patients, Bill, sharing his experience on our ED treatments.
My name's Bill, and I'm a patient at Northeast Men's Health. I suffered with ED for a couple of years, and I wasn't satisfied with my intimate life with my wife. If you have a problem, find a solution. If you have ED, seek out Northeast Men's Health. Go there. You've got nothing to lose. I am having good sex, but it's not just about the sex. Colors were brighter. My mood was brighter. I had more passion for everything in my life, not just sex, everything. I'm going to Northeast Men's Health. Go there, give it a try, meet the people there. They'll take care of you.
Thanks, Bill. It's true. If you're like most men, we'll help you get your sex life back. For just $99, you'll get a medical medically advised a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're going to go straight into traffic. I didn't realize that the break was that long. It's a lot of news. That's a lot of news. So we'll go right to it. Weather's with Jason Catarinas and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. By the way, Mark, they said, Richard A. in the chat room said, suck it up, Mark. Sometimes you got to take one for the team being so attractive.
I love you, Richard. I am so unattractive, but that is so funny that he said that. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, on the southbound 90 side of 91, delays from 34 down to 32 A and B. Again, a little slowdown by exit 28, and you'll see some sluggish traffic and stop and go from exit 25 S&N in Wethersfield down to exit 22 for the Route 9 interchange. 9 northbound, we have a crash with a tractor trailer and a vehicle. It's 9 northbound between 30 and 31. The left lane's blocked, stay to the right there. Delays back to exit 29 behind that. Now, the northbound side 91
performing on the biggest stage in the world was just one step in my journey.
Governor Street out to 45
Hi, I'm Ronnie.
Tonight,
Hempstead has a new mayor.
Prospect Oakwood down to the Bulkley Bridge. 2 westbound tight, exit 4 up to the 84 West merge. 291 eastbound slowing from I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. If you're 2 westbound, you got delays from 1D up to the 84 West merge. 9 southbound is a little slow as you move up on the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. Looks like we've had an accident now pop up on the eastbound side of 691 in Meriden. It looks like it is just east of exit 2A, so look for delays building behind that on the eastbound side of 691 in Meriden. Looks like delays are almost back to Lewis Avenue behind that. If you are heading into Waterbury now, westbound 84, you've got delays 23 to the Mixmaster, 84 eastbound slowing by 18, 84 eastbound Danbury tight 3 to 5, again delays 84 eastbound 10 to 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway, you've got slow traffic approaching 60 in Hamden down into the West Rock Tunnel, 95 southbound delays 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Clear to partly cloudy and cold tonight. The low dropping down to 26 here for us. Then some sun that turning cloudy as we head into the day on Thursday. The high 52. A shower in spots Thursday night. The low down to 36. Then Friday, occasional rain and drizzle in the morning. Otherwise cloudy and breezy. Going to have a bit of that damp, raw feel to the day, though. The high of 51. Saturday, though, definitely cold, damp, and raw with occasional rain and drizzle. The high of 43. Heading into the day on Sunday, a little nicer, even with occasional rain and drizzle, the high 53. And Monday, pleasant and warmer to start the new week, the high up to 65. Right now, it's 44 in Waterbury, 46 in Danbury, 47 in Bridgeport, and 46 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Whether you're shaping up a small yard or tackling serious acreage, Steel walk-behind zero-turn and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel. Let's go mow. Available at participating dealers.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. My friend Phil just finished month 2 of Awaken 180 weight loss. All right, Phil, it is the end of week 8 now, according to my calendar. And how are we looking?
We're looking good, Tom. This past week, I dropped another 4.8. Since the start date of February 5, I'm down 46 pounds.
Dang, that is amazing. So it's about right around 6 pounds per week.
The weight loss speaks for itself. It's keeping me motivated. I have no desire to cheat.
You're definitely a much thinner guy now. You look like a new Phil. And Phil, don't take this the wrong way, but you look younger too.
Well, that's a compliment, Tom. I thank you. In fact, I go to the local Y to do, some moderate workouts, nothing too crazy. And a guy came up to me and he said, "Man, you look great."
Phil does look great, and he's losing weight by eating right through Awaken 180 weight loss, and not by taking some experimental drug with a clinical name you can't pronounce. Make your consultation today at 844-346-1800 or at awaken180weightloss.com.
Prescriptions require an online
1 minute.
provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information.
All right, good night, Jason.
Based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start an online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it.
We're back. I don't know why it makes me laugh every time you do it. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let's go right to the phones. People have been holding for a bit. Corey is in Meriden. How are you, sir?
What is going on, brother? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. What's up?
Dude. Your stories for the past 45 minutes are absolutely amazing. But
thank you.
It makes perfect sense. Now, applying the method you've been talking about here for a while, did you see the news headline that recently just said that, Matt, what's his name, whoever the congressional leader is, they want to put the state of Connecticut into a state of emergency over funding now. Did you see that headline?
A budget, right. And this is the budget. I'm assuming this is the budget proposal by Lamont, right?
I would have to assume.
Yeah.
So, in that regards, let's go back to when Lamont and Malloy were transitioning. Remember the transition?
Sure.
Back. So, Twitter is going to blast up over this, especially in Connecticut, because people forget these things. It's like absent-minded professor all over again. Do you remember before COVID, literally shortly before in 2019, you could pull up the articles here, and I suggest your listeners do it and you're going to see that 10 to 20% of hospitals in Connecticut were about to close.
That's right.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
So if that is the case, COVID magically appears as the Malloy transition team into Lamont happens, and this all takes place within 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
Magically, Lamont pulls in all of the federal funding for COVID, and magically every hospital is now restored. Think of the billions that would cost if 10 to 20% of hospitals in Connecticut were about to close. But
remember, Corey, you're right on. Listen to me. You are right above the target. Now, remember one of the conspiracy theories that lasted about a week that we all found out to be true. It was one of the quickest debunked conspiracies, and I say debunked, meaning that it turned out to be true, was that the federal government was paying people and hospitals for every COVID case that they were treating. Remember that?
Now we're getting into the meat potatoes of what Doge is going after. But
Exactly. And it was so rampant. That's what made it so crazy. In all of that was going on, the first person who told me, when I knew it was a conspiracy, I was one of the first people to go on my podcast and mention it. My brother's an EMT, and he's still in New Jersey, and he told me that they were counting a bullet, a person who had been shot at their hospital with a COVID death. So they were almost double stamping that individual. They would put in a record that the person was killed by bullet wound, and the other death was counted as a COVID death. So I said, I'm like, is that really happening? He was like, yes. So I was telling everybody, and everybody told me, no, that's not true. That's bull. Then we found out that the hospitals were actually getting paid for every COVID death, and their reasoning was because of the hazard. And everybody told us that was bogus. Sure enough, that turned out to be true. And we saw billions of dollars go into hospitals.
I'm going to finish my point here, and now this is all going to tie in together a few years later. Did you notice how the Attorney General has been acting erratically?
Yes.
Murphy, Blumenthal, and including, they're being very quiet at the governor's office, but this is absolutely critical because if that money was used fraudulently at all of the hospitals, and I want every listener to hear this, they're trying to keep it to where Medicare and all of those funding mechanisms are in the news that, oh, Trump's doing this.
Right.
No. What if they were using and abusing those funds and all of those hospitals with what you just said, they find out that federal money that was supporting the Connecticut budget was illegally being used fraudulently to support those methods and means. And that is the truth as to what actually happened. Connecticut is screwed.
Yeah. And, it's funny because there are a lot of other cities. New Jersey's a big one. New York's another big one. People forget. And this was, do you want to know what exposed it, what actually took the conspiracy label off of the story, Corey? It was Justice Sonia Sotomayor actually exposed the story. A story that could not be denied was that she had a relative who had died, and they publicly said that even Justice Sonia Sotomayor's relative had died of COVID, and Sonia Sotomayor knew that the person had died from other complications, and she demanded the hospital remove the COVID label from her loved one. And that's what immediately debunked it. Thank
you so much for saying that story.
It's true. People knew about it because Sonia Sotomayor, one of the biggest names, one of the biggest leftists in the world, once she exposed that, everybody knew that the jig was up. Oh, and let's also not forget, Corey, before I let you go, another very prominent figure in the news was also diagnosed as a COVID death. It would be none other than George Floyd.
Yes, and that is a critical piece of understanding the two stories that affect not only, actually, it affects where he died and also the state that we currently live in.
Indeed.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much for the airtime.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Let's go to Phil, who's in Marlboro. How we doing, sir?
Hey.
Hey, Phil. How are you, sir?
I tried to call yesterday, but I got cut off.
That's okay. What's up?
You kind of answered my question. You said you're addicted to Tim.
Yes, I did.
I know all about addiction, and I'll tell you what. That's one addiction I would never want to have.
You know what it is? I'll tell you this. You know how... I don't know if you've ever experienced this personally. Hold on, we lost Phil. There he is. I don't know if you've ever experienced this personally in your own personal life or something that you saw in school. Did you ever witness bullying in school, like by, a bully versus a kid that was being bullied? Do you ever witness anything like that growing up? If you didn't experience it yourself?
I did experience it myself.
Okay, so I myself too. And I never ever understood why Cornflake never relented bullying me. But I get it now. After I grew up, I understood why Cornflake continued. He always got the drop on me. He always beat me up. It was always going to be the same outcome. Why did he continue to fight the same fight that he was guaranteed to win? And truth be told, because it's powerful. If you are a bully who likes the idea of beating someone up, you're going to continue to do it as long as they let you. The only way he was going to stop bullying me is if I had punched him in the nose and actually won a fight. Then he would want to make up and be friends. But I never want to fight against him. So I never want to fight. So he took advantage. So I will admit my addiction to Tim is, and he says it himself, Reese, you're nothing more than a bully. And he's right. I'm a bully, but only when it comes to him.
He really, like, that's why I'm a first-time caller.
Yes,
And
sir.
I had to call in yesterday and because I wanted to slap him, and I'm not a violent guy.
So what you're saying is that the bullying is Tim's own fault? That's not right.
Well, he's on your show. I listen at lunch.
Yes, sir.
At lunchtime on I forgot the guy's name now, but you know, he's on every show.
Yes, I know.
And he's just I don't know.
It's entertainment. Look, I hope no one gets the impression, Phil, that I'm some angry guy at Tim. I have a lot. For me, I tell my wife about it every time when I tell her, I was like, hey, Tim called today. She goes, oh, really? And then she'll listen just to see what it's about because she knows I'm having fun with him. You know, I told him, I even texted him one day, Phil, you know what I told him? This is probably the meanest thing I've ever said to anybody. I told Tim on Facebook, I said, you're a cat toy. That's how me. I'm not going to lie. I've said some insulting things in my life. That had to be the most insulting thing I've ever said to a person. I called him a cat toy. And that's really what it is. It's like, you know, somebody brings you a little bit piece of yarn and you beat them around. That's what Tim is to me. But it's to my enjoyment. That's all it is.
All right.
Thank
you. You know, hey, God be with you. I mean, to put up with that. Because I tell you what, I love your show. I listen. But when I hear him, I put on.
I hear you. I totally hear you, buddy. Thank you, Phil. Let's go to Gary in Southington. Hey, Gary.
Hey, sorry to take my phone off the speakerphone.
Oh, that's okay, Gary. What's up?
Yeah, a couple of things I want to make a point on.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, I'm sure you know this. Well, I came, when you're talking to these lefties, now I came out of the left, many years ago. I was as left as Tim is, and believe me, just as bad. I believe we're heading for an ice age and that'll lie. Then it switched to we're going to be. Well, do you remember that? I know you.
Oh yeah, of course I do. To be honest with you, I just want to tell you, welcome home. To be honest.
Well, the reason why I say this is, I understand why. It's like they don't have an argument. They can't tell you why they believe what they believe. They just call you stupid names.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking to them, you're never going to convince them. The only way they're going to change is they have to see it. I really can't explain it. I had to read. Well, the biggest thing for me was I had to read history, and then I realized the lie. I was told this whole lie about both of the parties, when in fact the Democratic Party is a racist party. I mean, on steroids. It's heinous. Their history is heinous. You know, to give you an example, you know the LBJ that he applied for the KKK. It's documented. He applied to go into the KKK.
I did not know that.
As far as you know, yes, look it up.
Okay, hold on. I wanted to do something here. Did I lose you? Are you still there, Gary? Oh, I think we lost him. I want to look this up before I go to the next. I want to go to the next caller, but I want to look this up. So, I implore everybody to do this. If you look up Democrats.org, because it's a great point that Gary was bringing up here, and when you go to the website on Democrat.org, they give you just go to their Who We Are section on the page, and I'm always baffled by this. Because in reading their history, you learn something that should baffle the hell out of you. And that is, in talking about their existence, the Democrat Party starts itself from talking about how they're the oldest political group in history, and then immediately make a beeline to Lyndon B. Johnson. And then, John F. Kennedy. So they make a beeline from their inception to John F. Kennedy, to LBJ, to Barack Obama. Now, when we as Republicans talk about our storied history, we start at Abraham Lincoln and then go nuts about everything. So I always found it odd that when you go to their website, they skip over a lot of their history, and for good reason. It's because they don't want people to know who they are. Yeah, Lori's right. Robert Byrd was the KKK, guy. I've always loved that story about Robert Byrd being a member of the KKK. That was always my favorite story. You be in a barbershop and you talk about that. My favorite time in a barbershop was, it's called the Last Stop Barbershop in Virginia. And I'm sitting there, young boys, on the weekend with their dads, some of their uncles, cousins, friends, and I'm the only conservative there, only black conservative in the room. And we are arguing about Donald Trump and Barack Obama, and it was crazy. I was the only person. It's me against like 20 people who are engaging. I already knew the barbers, who I always engaged with. But the rest of the patrons, that then, as barbershops go, everybody starts chiming in. And it turns into this big debate with like me taking on like 20 different people and 20 different opinions, young people. And then I get to Robert Byrd. They start talking about racism and Klan and all that other stuff. And then I mention Robert Byrd. And they're like, Robert Byrd, I don't know who that guy is. And so I show them who Robert Byrd is. And I showed them Robert Byrd history. And it was like, yeah, so what? What's that got to do with anything? I was like, did that say he's a Democrat or a Republican? I was like, yeah, it says he's a Democrat. But what? That don't matter. It was like, party switched. I'm like, party switched? I mean, he died in 2010. What was he when he died in 2010? Oh, it says he was a Democrat. That's fine. I was like, okay. Was he a senator when he died? Oh, yeah, he was. I'm like, oh, hey, look at the people here who spoke at his funeral. You see any Republicans on that list? Well, I wouldn't know. I was like, okay, do you recognize any one of these people on the list? And he goes, Barack Obama? I said, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. First black president spoke at the eulogy of a former Klansman, Grand Kleagle of the KKK. Oh, there's the other first black president, Bill Clinton. He spoke there too. Oh, and Joseph R. Biden. Wow. Those young kids stood around and looked at me and were like, yo, never forget it. Let's get to the weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Jason Catarinas has got your weather. Hey, man.
Right, thank you, Rod. I spoke at his funeral. He was a KKK guy, but he repented and he did the right thing in the end. Right?
No, my favorite part, Mark, was when during his eulogy,
they didn't know about his history.
No, they knew about his history, but during his eulogy, Bill Clinton said at his eulogy, he said that that Robert Byrd had to join the Klan to get elected. I'm like, okay, he can join the Klan, but does he have to be the grand recruiter?
God. He wanted to get elected that much that he would join that organization. There's something really wrong here.
Instead of getting a membership, he got a leadership role.
Oh, boy. That's not good. Oh, boy, Reese. If you are heading into downtown Hartford right now and you're on the westbound side of 84, you got delays 56 Governor Street out to 47 Sigourney, 84 eastbound tied up 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. Southbound 91, you're looking at delays 34 down to 32 A and B. Again, you're slowing, approaching 24 down to 22 on the Route 9 interchange. This is because of an accident on 9 North between 30 and 31. Car and a tractor trailer involved in an accident. Left lane block, delays back to 29.
That's good, Rama.
Behind that. Looks good. Northbound 91, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 eastbound, slowing I-91 over to the Bissell. 84 westbound, we got that already. 2 eastbound is moving a little slow by exit 5C in East Hartford. 2 westbound, slowing from 1D up to the 84 West merge. Quiet Middletown, Waterbury 84 westbound. You've got sluggish traffic. 22 to the Mixmaster, 84 eastbound slowing by 18, 84 eastbound Danbury delays 3 to 5, again delays from 9 to 11 on the eastbound side of 84 Newtown. Southbound Parkway slowing, getting by 60, South 95 New Haven slows 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
And now, a WTIC News Update.
5:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News, the WTIC Weather Center forecast for this evening and tonight. Clear to partly cloudy skies. We'll have lows in the upper 20s. On Thursday, a little milder with some sun early, then the clouds roll in, highs in the low 50s. Thursday night, we've got cloudy skies with a shower in spots possible, lows mid-30s. Friday, we get the rain and the drizzle early. And that moves out, and we're left with cloudy skies. It's breezy, and temperatures still unseasonable for this time of year, only in the low 50s. Currently, we have mostly sunny skies out there, temperature of 47 degrees in downtown Hartford. Well, the parade and rally celebrating the Yukon women's basketball team has been moved from Saturday to Sunday. Organizers say the threat of heavy rain on Saturday led to the decision. The parade will now step off at 1 p.m. Sunday from the Capitol, winding up in front of the XL Center on Trumbull Street for the rally. Dow Jones back up over 40,000 today after word this afternoon from President Trump that he's holding the line on tariffs for now, 90 days for most countries, with the exception being China, which will have to fork over 125% more in tariffs. The president at the White House earlier today said doing the tariffs took guts on his part and that they were working out faster than even he thought. The State House has voted to reappoint Marissa Gillette as chair of PURA, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. Vote 91 in favor, 52 against. Gillette had become somewhat of a lightning rod, as some had blamed her specifically for the high electricity rates the state has seen, while utilities accused her of abusing her authority. The House also voted David Arconti in the affirmative to be a PURA commissioner. The Senate will take up the measure next. The brother of a Hartford police detective killed in the line of duty is speaking out. Will Garton tells WFSB the person who struck a police cruiser with his brother and another officer inside should be given the maximum sentence. Richard Barrington has pled guilty to manslaughter after he sped away from an earlier traffic stop, ran 2 red lights before the crash. A state's attorney is recommending 20 years in prison. Woman was seriously injured when Milford Fire Department officials say the vehicle she was in was struck by a stray tire on I-95 Tuesday morning. The victim had to be extricated from the car. The incident occurred northbound near exit 39A. Dozens of people have gathered at the Dominican Republic's Forensic Institute, hoping for news of their loved ones who are still missing after the roof of an iconic nightclub collapsed. The crowd became increasingly agitated today as the National Institute of Forensic Pathology officials read the names of 54 victims they have so far identified. Again, the market's way up on Wall Street today. Dow up 7.8% to 2962 for the day. NASDAQ up 12%, gaining 1,857 points, and the S&P finished up 9.5%, 474 points ahead. Red Sox baseball tonight on TIC. It is Boston and Toronto, Game 3 of a series at Fenway. We'll take the pregame immediately after the 6 o'clock news. First pitch set for 6:45. Yankees beat Detroit to salvage a game in that series today, 4-3. Mets were shut out by the Marlins, 5-0. NBA tonight, after their big win over the Knicks last night, the Celtics take their show on the road to Orlando to face the Magic. And in the NHL, it's Philly skating at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
This traffic report is being brought to you by Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods.
This week at Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods, local hickory smoked spiral cut hams for $3.99 per pound. Plus, this week's color, locally grown potted hyacinths, tulips, and Easter daffodils are $7.99 each or 3 for $22. For more savings, visit StuLeonards.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you
In 1 minute.
and
and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hi, this is Mike Allen, WTIC AM pilot and traffic reporter. Happy birthday, WTIC.
That's a nice happy birthday. Anyway, we're going to get to the phones and get up out of here. In fact, we only got a minute now before we go right back into traffic. Wow, you can't tell me that those breaks aren't longer. I know that's definitely a fact. We'll get to your phone calls. Don't forget to be the last but not least caller of the day. And you'll get a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. We've got plenty of other news to get into as well. So we'll get to that. I don't think we got anything in particular that I can cite right now that I didn't get to. I've got to talk about... I've got to play that video again. I got to play the audio again for my 2026 video. And Sunny hosted Houston Houston talking about voter ID. So I got that coming up. So stick around for that. We'll bring it all... we'll wrap this puppy up, as we say. All right, when we get back. Jason Catarina, of course, has the weather. And Mark Christopher's at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, man.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. 91 southbound, look for delays approaching 33 down to 32 A and B. You'll slow again as you move down by exit 24 down to 22 in the Route 9 interchange in Cromwell. Still dealing with an accident involving a tractor trailer and a vehicle 9 northbound between 30 and 31. Left lane block, stay to the right there. Delays back to 29 behind that in Cromwell. Northbound side of 91, that's moving well. Cromwell through Hartford up into Windsor. If you're westbound 84, you're tied up 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush. 84 eastbound slowing a mile before 46 Sisson Avenue down to the Bulkley. 291 eastbound slowing coming off of I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. If you're traveling to westbound, you've got delays from 1D up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. Heading into Middletown, quiet night in the Aragoni Bridge. Look out for an accident 691 eastbound in Meriden between exit 2A and 1B. You've got delays back to exit 2B behind that. If you're traveling toward Waterbury, 84 westbound delays from 25A to 25, and again, 84 westbound slowing 22 to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound Waterbury tight by exit 18. 84 eastbound Danbury slowing 3 to 5. 84 eastbound in Danbury tight again from exit 8 to exit 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway running a little slow between 60 and the West Rock Tunnel. 95 southbound delays 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Clear to partly cloudy, cold tonight, the low down to 26, and we'll have some sun, then turning cloudy on Thursday, the high 52. A shower in spots Thursday night, leading to occasional rain and drizzle Friday morning. Cloudy, breezy, a bit damp, raw, and chilly, the high 51. Late night rain on Friday, some of it heavy at times, then occasional rain and drizzle Saturday. Definitely damp, raw, and cold with the high 43. Warmer on Sunday, though, with occasional rain and drizzle, the high of 53. Right now, 45 in Waterbury, 47 in Bristol, and 46 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Concerned about your gums? Columbia Dental's expert periodontists specialize in treating all gum conditions, helping you achieve a healthy, confident smile. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
My name is Joanne. I'm 75 years old and I have lost 35 pounds on Awaken 180 weight loss. I was pre-diabetic. I was ready to go on cholesterol medication. My blood pressure was up even on medication. Now I have no need for cholesterol medication. My blood sugar is fine, and I actually am cutting down on my blood pressure medicine. I have knee replacements and hip replacements, and I had difficulty walking, and now I can walk without any problem. I feel lighter. I feel more energetic. It is a lifestyle that will help you to lose weight without medication.
Thanks, Joan. Tom Shattuck here. Stories like Joan's are the reason I continue to share the Awaken 180 message. The results speak for themselves, and I'm confident you'll have the same success if you let them show you how. Do what Joan did, what I did, and what over 24,000 others have done, and choose the solution for weight loss. It's easy. Get them online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Will new tariffs impact
Woman.
Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code FAST. Swishradio.com, code FAST.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 20% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
I said I was going to play this, but of course I got the phone lines open. So we're going to play it one more time. The Democrat 2026 a piece that I think, and I'm going to improve on it, but this is pretty much what it sounds like. And I should have had it ready. Of course, shows how lame I am, doing a whole bunch of stuff. Democrats will always be the party of slavery and Jim Crow. And when it comes to illegal immigration, they can't help but show who they really are.
This legislation passed, making it easier to get at people who are already here legally, and you have no immigration, then we would have no food on our plates. We would have nobody cleaning up in the hospitals.
It's the people in the service industry that are cleaning the restrooms that we use when we go out with our family and friends.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Defenders of slavery argued that the sudden end to the slave economy would have a profound and killing economic impact in the South, where reliance on slave labor was the foundation of their economy.
The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
I'm sure it's not your position that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time.
Why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here.
That's Nancy Pelosi. That's Nancy Pelosi. Why are you shipping the immigrants up north that we need them down here to pick the crops? I mean, that's to the bone reminiscent of the segregated South, the slave-holding South. What are you sending them up north for where they's free? Get them back down here so they can pick the crops. It's crazy. It's crazy. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Jim in Naugatuck. Hey, Jim.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
Listen, I can solve the state's budget problem.
Okay.
Don't tell me you're going to cut services for people and everything. Cut all the money to the illegal immigrant. I want to know. I can never find out any numbers on this state of what we spend for my tax dollars on illegal immigrants, or how many we have in the state, or where are they. I can never find information about that, but I guarantee you We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on illegals. Take that money, give it to the people, and I'm sure our budget will be just fine. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Jim. In fact, I even hear that number, there have been estimates to the tune of $1.3 billion that's been bellied about. So I've heard a lot of that out there. Let's go to Jeff in Marlboro. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, not doing bad. How about you, buddy?
I'm all right, sir. What's up?
So I got two things. I'll try and make it quick because I got cut off yesterday.
I know, sir.
Tim from Hamden, okay? Best call between you guys yesterday. You weren't screaming over too much.
I tried.
Each other. It was good to listen to. I like to listen to the opposing viewpoint, and I think you gave them enough rope, and it was a great call.
Thank you.
And it was a great discussion.
I appreciate that.
I really enjoyed that. I think a few other callers have called in about not specifically him, but one or two other callers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was good to listen to.
Thank you. What was the other thing?
Yes. The Democrats, I know that the website you've been talking about before, when their mission statement and everything, they want to hide their past 100 years for promises that they had no intention of delivering. They just wanted votes. And I was wondering about if you would talk about that a little bit more.
I could. You know what? It's in fact, because as we were talking, during the 2024 election, I remember I had this page up, and I looked at it, and it had skipped over its inception and went right past. And Tim, I think, even asked in the chat room and said, they don't mention FDR? No, they don't. They skipped over. But here's where it makes it worse. To codify my point, I went to Who We Are, which is on their website. I clicked onto it, and you have three things: who we serve, what we do, and about the Democrat Party. Click on About the Democrat Party. It's got one paragraph. And if I may, I'll go through it briefly. Since 1848, the Democratic National Committee has been the heart of the Democratic Party, the oldest continuing political party in the United States. That was in last year's headline. This is the rest. Today, there are millions of supporters strong, leading with our values, fighting for progress, and helping elect Democrats in every state, city, and zip code. From local offices to the Oval Office, our party's strength lies in advancing our Democrat platform and forging positive solutions that include everyone, as Democrats' health care is a right for all, and that hard work and middle-class families would be rewarded. There is nothing on their history now. Nothing. Just what they stand for. That is on their headline that says our party. It talks about their inception in 1848. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty strong statement in and of itself.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't tell anybody about yourself, because again, if they had to, look, I used to always say this. If they wanted to get rid of statues, why didn't they get rid of the $20 bill? It's got Andrew Jackson on it. These people aren't serious. I don't take them seriously. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, sir. Let's go to I'm going to grab him last in a second. By the way, if you want to be the last but not least caller, you got to do it now. 860-522-WTIC. Actually, I'm going to do something for the ladies very, very soon. Because it's an interesting dynamic. I talked about this a long time ago in the 5 o'clock focus about why women do not listen to talk radio. They listen, but they don't listen a lot. But I want to do something and actually where I can engage with women, because again, I'm a guy. I don't really understand. I've got, of course, we have ladies in the chat room. We got Tara P, Laura L, Laura M in the chat room. They're committed people. Into Polly, of course, is in the chat room. Scallywags, all of them. I just want to actually start engaging with a little more women, because I've got some questions I've always wanted to ask, not just politically, but socially, that involve women that I want to get to. So I'm probably going to start something either end of the week or next week. And I think we're just going to call it Hey Ladies from the Beastie Boys song. But, we want to do something with that. But if you want to call in and it doesn't make us a month for 6 months, give us a call, 860-522-WTIC, before we get out of here. Dave is in Brantford. How are you, sir? Oh, and Carmela. I forgot about
Reese.
Yes, Dave.
Reese, I was thinking it'd be the perfect time when you were encouraging ladies to call and you push the button for Tim. That's my joke. I want to say we razz Jasmine Crockett an awful lot on this show.
Yeah.
And I'm reading The Nation magazine, who's giving her props for an award for one of the dozen most progressive
Yes.
and outstanding people of note. And I did not know that she is a lawyer.
Yes.
A lawyer, and I didn't know she won 85% to 15% in her district. She's not coming out off Congress anytime soon.
Yes.
She's gets the votes of her people. And Bob Duff, senator in the state of Connecticut, wants to outlaw banning books, those pornographic LGBT.
Okay,
types.
yeah.
And I'm trying to get books by Walter Williams, Tom Sowell, Milton Friedman, or Rush Limbaugh. They do not exist in my library. So I requested a Walter Williams book. It's been 2 weeks.
Really?
Our books are the ones that are banned. Our books are the ones you can't get. And thanks for letting me make that point.
Not a problem, sir. You got it, sir. Let's go to White Mike in Florida. What's going on, sir?
Hey, man, real quick. So, the thought game people play, the if you had a time machine, what would you do game?
Oh, yeah, I love that game.
And so many people say they go back and kill Hitler. That's like the default. I like to ask liberals, if you had a time machine, would you go back to like the 1600s and stop slavery from happening?
Wow.
And then they automatically say yes. Always they say yes. And you say, so you don't want black people in America.
That, my friend, may be the greatest troll I've ever heard in my life. That is so brilliant. That is
and they stutter, and I say, well, they weren't going to let them come here. They weren't going to go to Africa and import these people willingly or voluntarily. So slavery is why you have black people in America. Quit being a B word.
That's a great lie. You know what? Oh, you just gave me an idea. I'm going to talk. I've already got this idea coming up that's going to involve Roseanne, but you literally just gave me my first piece. That one I'm definitely going to do. Thank you, Mike, as always, sir. I thought he was going to. You got it. I thought he was going to call about the Austin Metcalf thing. Oh, I want to play this before I get out of here. And like I said, stick around if you want to be the last but not least caller of the day. Call up now, 860-522-WTIC. I wanted to play this. This is Sonny Hostin talking about voter ID. They do a thing after The View where they do a little podcast. Listen to this.
The reason Democrats don't want voter ID is because they make it much more difficult for elderly people, people that don't travel, don't have a passport, poor people, don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where black people had to prove their right to vote. And oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your.
So there's a lot of excuses about this. And I played that Ami on the street bit, where they asked a bunch of, very liberal people in Berkeley, California, and then talked to black people in Harlem, and they were completely like flummoxed, like, why would people say this stuff about us? So, which I thought was hilarious. But then I saw this from the Babylon Bee. Enjoy.
We're here on the scene in this Republican county where African Americans are being oppressed by horrific new voter laws, forcing them to acquire a legal ID to vote. Excuse me, sir. You're unable to acquire an ID, are you not?
Actually, I just renewed my ID. It's pretty easy, actually.
There you have it. This poor black man has been disenfranchised by racist voter ID laws because he's too ignorant. I'm sorry. Ignorant means stupid. Too ignorant to acquire a voter ID. Absolutely tragic. The new laws forbid giving out food, water, and free cash to voters in line. How will black people figure out how to drink water in line to vote? That's illegal. Thanks to Republicans. Where did you get that anyway?
I brought it.
You didn't bring that. You're too underprivileged. That means poor. I'm sorry, the evil conservatives are trying to figuratively smack the water out of your hands.
You literally just did that.
I love the Babylon Bee. They're far better. Onion's good, but Babylon Bee is better. Just hear that way too often. My favorite part is, ignorant means stupid. Oh, they get mad at me for doing it. To me, it's just, I think it's hilarious. The soft bigotry of low expectations. By the way, go online and look up African Americans and voter ID, and inundated with all of these factors as to why African Americans cannot get an ID. Just all of these factors. They say that black people don't travel. They don't go anywhere. I didn't realize that they don't travel. They don't go places. They don't buy things. They don't drive. That's pretty much what they're saying. They don't drive. They don't get driver's licenses. It's insanity, the stuff that they say. It's like they went out there and talked to 48 million African Americans to find out if they had an ID. And they calculate, is it in the census? Maybe we should get that on the census, that we should say, how many of you actually have an identification at all? And if we're really being honest, why not do the same thing for African Americans that the federal government appears to have been doing for illegals? What do I mean? I mean this.
DOJ has found that immigration gave a work authorization document to illegals just 5 months after they filed for asylum. That document allowed them to work while they waited to hear whether their asylum request had been accepted or denied. So they could work as an illegal, knowing it would take years before their case was heard. The Immigration Department mailed them a Social Security number. No interview, no proof of identity. Just put it in the mail. Here's your number.
Why can't they do that for black folks? An ID. It was so easy. It was over 4 million people that got Social Security numbers, Social Security cards. What's holding them up? Maybe they're not, because they're not illegal. Anyway, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here next time. Jason Reese has got your weather, and Mark's getting you home in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, Mark.
Hey, good night, Reese. Have a good one. If you are heading into downtown Hartford right now, westbound.
All right, good sir.
Locked up.
Thank you.
From
that actually turned out
Governor
better than
Street,
I thought, because there was barely any news
tight,
today.
Right up to Flatbush Avenue, where you open up.
All right, I will see you mañana.
Now.
See you tomorrow. Enjoy your night.
Thank you, man. You too.
Before 46th Avenue up to 48 Capitol Avenue.
All right, Polly, thank you. Lori as well. Carmela, I'm sorry I forgot about you, Carmela. I hope I made it up. Thank you, Michael A. You guys be good. We will see you back here mañana. Stay out of trouble. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my day. There's not much. I'm probably just going to go over ratings. That's what I'm going to do. I'll have to share that with you one day. Actually, if you check out my Sunday show, I think I talk about it a little bit. And we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of my Sunday show. Very soon. I'll talk about that a little bit as well. All right, y'all be good. Love you guys.